provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
The two Chicago brothers, once accused of attacking Empire actor Jussie Smollett, are now suing Smollett's attorneys for defamation. Attorney Gloria Schmidt reading a statement from the brothers, Ola and Boa Osundaro, today.
We have sat back and watched lie after lie being fabricated about us in the media, only so one big lie can continue to have life.
The brothers insist they told the truth to the police and the grand jury that indicted Smollett, who was ultimately accused of a hate crime hoax and charged with lying to investigators before those charges were later dropped. An actor and producer, a giant media company, and a space agency all have something in common: winners of awards for internet excellence.
Will Smith, the Walt Disney Company, and NASA are the recipients of Webby Awards this year. Think of Webby's as Grammy Awards for making use of the internet. Smith's live stream bungee jump won the Webby for Best Event. NASA takes the honor for Best Use of Social Media. Online gaming sensation Fortnite wins the gaming category. And Disney was chosen as Media Company of the Year, winning 32 different award categories. The awards will be presented at a ceremony in New York City in May. Eben Brown, Fox News.
16-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg won a Webby for Social Movement of the Year, honoring her Fridays for Future campaign. Late word, the tax preparer H&R Block says its co-founder, Henry Block, has died of natural causes at a hospice in Kansas City today. He was 96. Block founded the company with his brother in 1955 after the IRS stopped providing free income tax returns service. Recapping the rally on Wall Street, the Dow up 145 and new record highs for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Helen Keller once said, "Blindness separates us from things, but deafness separates us from people." At Ross Hearing Aids, it's their mission to keep you connected to the moments and the people that matter most in your life. Hearing aid technology has never been better, so schedule your complimentary hearing consultation today. Call Ross Hearing Aids, 637-HEAR, 637-4327. You should hear what you're missing.
I love you, Daddy.
How's your hearing?
Enough is enough. Join us, concerned citizens and survivors of sexual assault on our island will be gathering at intersections and roadsides all over Guam for the Enough Walkout campaign. Wednesday, April 24th at 5 p.m. we will gather, and then at 5:05 for 15 minutes, silently raise our hands with the word enough written on them, standing together. This is a community response to rampant sexual assaults on Guam, especially affecting our children, and to show solidarity in speaking against sexual assault and urging government leadership to proactively address this issue. On Facebook, please see the Monique Baza's story page or the Guam Family Justice Center Alliance for details. Enough is enough.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A man who killed his former girlfriend in 1988 has been paroled after spending over 30 years in prison. Francis Anthony Castro Cruz released from the custody of the Department of Corrections following a parole board hearing last week. Back in July 1988, Cruz spotted his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Lydia Marie Camacho Uggan, on a motorcycle with another man. He chased them down, hit them with his car. While Uggan was pinned underneath the vehicle, Cruz crawled under the car, shot and killed her. He also wounded the man who was with her. Cruz was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. The victim's family pleaded against his release last week during the hearing, but the parole board granted Cruz's request for parole and he was freed. Recently, the parole board released a convicted child sex predator who subsequently was arrested and charged earlier this month on allegations of kidnapping and raping a 10-year-old girl on her way to school. Yesterday, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero appointed retired U.S. Navy veteran Franklin Leon Guerrero to replace Parole Board Chairwoman Michelle Hope Titano. Dr. Vince Akimoto says he believes Captain Stephen Ignacio is both physically and mentally qualified to serve as Guam's police chief. He told the Guam Daily Post yesterday, "I believe he is fit for duty, absolutely." The doctor's evaluation of Ignacio revealed normal mental status and hemodynamic stability. Hemodynamic refers to the flow of blood within the organs and tissues of the body. Dr. Akimoto, who is a family physician, conducted a follow-up examination of Ignacio on March 29th after clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthizer conducted a fitness for duty evaluation on Captain Ignacio on March 11th. Lighthizer concluded that Ignacio was not fit from a mental health perspective for consideration for the position of Guam Police Chief. Most of the rest of Lighthizer's letter to the committee at the legislature was redacted by the Public Safety Committee. That committee has recommended that Ignacio be confirmed as chief of police. Akimoto declined to discuss his evaluation of Ignacio, citing patient confidentiality. We'll have more news after this.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Okay, I think it's coming up soon.
Yeah, we're on Route 1 and near the airport intersection, right?
There, see it? What's the promo code? Look for the promo code.
Check out the Vantage Digital Billboard and reap the rewards. Catch the promo code on the screen and get $10 off your stroll ride by inputting the promo code on the Stroll Guam app.
Did you see it?
You got it. I got it. You just focus on driving.
Take advantage today and take a look at Vantage Advertising's digital billboard located on Route 1 at the airport intersection.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Guam lawmakers are in session this week, and yesterday they approved an amendment to Senator Regine Bisco-Lee's Bill number 1-35 that doubles the expansion of the tax exemption for small businesses proposed in her initial version of the bill. The senator's original bill would have expanded the exemption from the business privilege tax for small businesses under the Dave Santos Act from $40,000 to $50,000 for any business making $250,000 a year or less. In addition, businesses making between $50,000 and $250,000 would only have to pay a 3% BBT tax instead of the current 5% rate. On the floor yesterday, however, Senator Lee proposed boosting the exemption from $50,000 to the first $100,000 of earned income. Senator acknowledged that would also double the revenue loss for GovGuam to $4.4 million, but it would expand the savings for individual businesses to $2,000 annually. When our experts warn us of negative economic growth, we have to act, said Senator Lee. Senator Therese Terlahi expressed concern about the increased exemption because of the loss of revenue for GovGuam, and she proposed amending the amendment to require that any business that wants the expanded tax exemption pay a minimum wage of $10 an hour to its employees. However, that amendment was defeated. Senator Lee's amendment to expand the BBT tax exemption was passed. Bill number 1 was moved to the voting file yesterday. Lawmakers on Tuesday also moving 15 nominations to various GovGuam boards and leadership positions into the voting file without any debate. Among the nominations that advanced were Ike Pareto's nomination to lead the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency and Samantha Brennan's nomination to serve as director of the Department of Corrections. Captain Stephen Ignacio's nomination to become chief of police was not brought to the floor yesterday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
Mostly sunny, Kevin, with a slight chance of light showers. Winds from the east, 15 to 20 miles an hour today, decreasing a bit overnight. Expected highs today, hot 89, 90 degrees. Overnight lows, not much cooler, 76, 77 in the forecast. Sunset tonight, 6:35. The sun came up just after 6 o'clock, about 6:03 this morning, if you were keeping track. I went out, and it must have come up just because it was dark when I went out just before 6. So it must have just come up and then bang, like a light turned on instead of that long kind of gray line. What did you see when you were looking?
Yeah, when I went out there, it was actually already darn near daylight. So it was kind of crazy. I don't know. You might have been looking through a tinted window.
You were on the other side of the building.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I was on the Marine Corps Drive side. You were on the Sleep Center side.
Yeah, the sun, man, it's up earlier and earlier all the time, and that's what we can expect as we get on towards the summer solstice in June.
Whisper the radar to me, buddy.
Well, I got some isolated. I keep saying scattered, and I wish I would stop that. But anyway, isolated showers are approaching from the east, so some of the morning drive could be a little bit damp for some of us. An interesting thing, and I posted about this on my weather post on my page and stuff, but I suspect that the surge energy I was talking about last week actually filtered down into our area, and the reason that I really kind of hold to this is the fact that I got up this morning and the winds were still blowing, and it was actually kind of a cool morning. This morning is pretty comfortable out there, and there's nothing on satellite, really. Some stuff down to the southeast, that's not coming this way. We really wish it would.
There really isn't anything there.
There's not. No, we are in a clear spot. Those high clouds are jetting off to the northeast, and this is a problem because the fire danger continues to climb. Fires are breaking out all over the island every single day, so please, just don't even take anything that's burning outside. Just don't.
Dude, I got some cardboard. I got a couple of boxes in the mail yesterday, and I don't want to hold on to those. It's hard to get rid of that stuff. So I was thinking I would do what the contractor buddies did and just make a spot out in the yard where I can light a fire and dispatch all of that cardboard.
Now you should build a play fort for yourself.
Thinking about it. There is that plan in my head as well. 6:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
No, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to read sponsor ads and things like that, and the people that support this program. I've got more important things to do right now than that. My quest this morning is to see if I can find, just for grins, if I can find out there in the world somewhere, this particular toy. Do you recognize it? Do you recognize the toy? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can rebuild him.
The $6 Million Man toy. I'll explain why in a little bit.
That's an action figure.
You're right. It's not a doll. It's an action figure. It's exactly the same thing I had to tell my dad all my life. And it's not dolls. They're not playing with dolls. They're action figures, Bob. 6:15 in the morning. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by the following. My friends over at Wendy's, where they've been cooking up some incredible burgers for you. I mean, that's what they're primarily known for. But you can also go in there and get some great salads. You can also go in there and get some great spaghetti. That's right, spaghetti over at Wendy's. Also brought to you by Cars Plus. They're driven by you. Jan and Joey and Dunch want to get you into your next ride. Head up to Cars Plus and Money and see what they got on the lot and inside the showroom. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for your specialty care needs. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. And the guys over at American President Lines, where they are shipping the future.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Somewhere out there, somebody's got one. Somewhere out there, there's somebody been holding on to their $6 million man toy from the 1970s. It was kind of a big deal. It was kind of a weird toy, though, because it had the idea behind it was there was a peephole, you remember, in the back of his head that allowed you to see through his eyeball, like the actual SIG, and you'd be able to see kind of what the $6 million man was looking at. A little telescope thing.
Yeah, magnified.
Was it a magnifier?
I think so.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
Just imagine if we were to look through that hole now.
I need the Evel Knievel toy. You remember that one?
Yeah,
the wind up, and then you let him go, and he goes. Phew.
How many of the Star Trek action figures did you have?
Oh, I didn't have any of those. I'm not sure that there was a place that was doing a lot of selling of those of that particular action figure. You know, it's not like we didn't have a KD toy like we do today. we didn't have the Toys R Us Junior. You know, we had whatever they bought over at Townhouse or whatever they had over at Gibson's, and that was pretty much it for action figures and toys of all kinds. It's not like there was a Kmart or anything like that. So you got and there was no internet then. It's not like you could just mom could go on the internet and order the $6 million man or the $6 million. Did they ever make a $6 million girl toy? Do you know? I'm sorry. You're probably wondering what is the obsession now with the $6 million man? And I'm still not ready to explain it because I got to take care of a couple of things first. First of all, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. This is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. My name is Ray Gibson, and I humbly say thank you. I'm going to do this politician style. I humbly say thank you very much for your vote of confidence and your listenership and your viewership on Facebook Live this morning.
I rise to second that motion, sir.
I rise. Thank you. I rise in support of your rising to support my motion. I appreciate that. There's an interesting motion on Facebook Live I'll get to in a second. Kevin Kerrigan with all the big stories from today's Guam Daily Post. I think that's going to be interesting to see what you and the other reporters at the Post have uncovered. The parole board frees a murderer, Francis Anthony Castro Cruz, in a case going back to '88. You want to talk about it's a combination of just good old-fashioned tomorrow ego and a little bit of road rage. He's driving down the road and he sees his old lady on a bike with somebody that's not him. And then takes actions into his own hand. You want to talk about a fit of anger, all right? She's already pinned underneath the car. He, according to the story here, barely remember from '88, climbs into the car, right? Scooches in and shoots her.
Yeah, and at that point, it's premeditated. I mean, he should have never gotten out. I'm sorry, I don't know his family, and I understand that there are mitigating circumstances.
No, the family of the victim says he should have stayed in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and after 30 years in prison, his life is over, effectively. What is he going to come out to? What is he going to come out and do? Nothing, but probably get back in trouble and get back in prison.
Well, I don't know. I think the question a lot of people are asking, you see this story and then you see the other story with Muffness in it, and you go, certainly a second look at what's happening. But, and I feel like I should know, where is the place on the web, Kevin? Where is the place on the World Wide Web where I can log in and see who the parole board has recently released? Who is out there? I mean, has anybody done that where we've gone and said, okay, well, we know about these two guys. Who else is out there? Who else bears, a second and third look from the police department, or at least a word that says, hey, we get it, you're out, but we're still watching you. Is there a list that I can go to? I can't find anything in a cursory Google search for Guam Parole Board. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place. If you know, send me a link on Facebook Live. Speaking of Facebook.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
It's nice to be around family and friends, isn't it? As usual, Ismael came in first, followed by Anita Muffness with the pretty Valentine's eyes, Al Batista, Dave Duenas, Nick Perlosky. I got Pam online already, Heather Perez, James Howard, and the list goes on. Rico Blancaflor, Levon Guerrero Meno, and who's talking already? Rico says good morning to everybody around here. Aloha Wednesday from James. Buenas from Heather. Cody James is online. I got Lillian Cruz. Dennis Bensour, who says, I'll make a breakfast pizza Monday if we can put Ismael on some kind of delay. So it's actually a contest to be the first to comment. I don't know. I don't even know how he does it, because I'm here. I can press the button and go directly to Facebook Live and then or go to Facebook. And then when I get the notice that I'm online, I can click on it. But Ismael is still there before me. Even after I'm watching this thing in real time, I'm literally mouse clicks away, and he still beats me. I think it's because he's got a touch of the devil in him.
Wasn't he a Navy SEAL?
The Army SEAL. Yeah, Army SEAL, something like that. Navy Ranger. Greg Karabrock's online, and he says, is it Monday yet? This W Wednesday has me thinking of another W. That is Winterfell. Got to be careful. I run into a friend of mine last night, and I said, hey, did you watch? Have you been watching Game of Thrones? And she looked at me like she just bit a lemon. She says, I'm not watching Game of Thrones. That's a stupid question. and literally got up and walked away.
I haven't seen it yet, but I did learn a spoiler yesterday that I won't share, but
offline.
Yeah.
Send it to me in the thing. Unless it's about a future Game of Thrones. If it's something that I've already seen, then that's fine. Lillian Cruz is there. Good morning, Ray, Kevin, Michael, and there's the cup of coffee emoji. Lady D is on. Juanita Machi, Ken LG, and who else is playing around here? Jennifer Post-Schnitker is online from the States saying hello. Ishmael says motion to rename Guam to Summerfell because there's only 2 seasons on Guam, summer and hot as hell. Mark Mendiola's online. There's Charlene Marchessault, Gwen Timingla, Pete Guerrero is online. Mo Cotton's here, so we can start. I got Gabby LG. Gabby, were you able to hook up with the security company? I know you were interested in contacting Hitoshi yesterday, so hopefully you got that number and put it to good use. Rod Rose Greeno is online. Mitch Prashado, who is actually my cousin. We've never met. But he's my cousin from my uncle Jim Underwood. Not that one, the older Jim Underwood. Lived in San Francisco for a long time. Best bartender there ever was. Patty Santiago's online. Good morning, Patty. Melissa Salas Akimoto. Ken LG responding to the conversation about Bill 1 over at the legislature, reducing GovGuam tax collections by $4.4 million. If GovGuam reduced headcount by 97 employees in an effort to match operation expenses to tax collections. That's funny. Or else the 35th just drives the budget deficit to new levels, which they see no problem with as long as they get the soundbite. But Ken, do you not agree with the idea that these small businesses that will not be paying 4.4%, it's not like they're going to pocket the dough. You get these companies a couple of $1,000s extra in their pocket that might put that into their employees, might run out there and swing by Home Depot, get some more tools, a little bit more of a setup on their business. We're talking about these food trucks or pop-ups or something like that. I think that money will circulate around in the economy. It will get spent at places that are going to be paying the full boat on business privilege taxes. So I'm not so concerned about that $4.4 million deficit as a result of this measure.
He can't get rid of the 97 people because who would get the legislature ready for all the resolutions?
That's right. Sorry, we got to have our butlers in there. James Isaiah is there. John Ray Taitano. Carlos Barreto. Got Bob Lazamas online. Levon C. Guerrero Manose. Ray, your potato and I say potato. It's a doll, she says. It's an action figure. Nick Perlowski, G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Yep. Pam Duvall talking about a $6 million woman. And Ismail correcting now. I think it's a friendly gesture here. It wasn't the $6 million woman. It was the bionic woman.
Yes. Lindsay Wagner.
Yes. Equal opportunity back in those days. Just a dream.
Maybe just about the only blonde that I actually thought was, hey.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not into blondes. So.
I always thought she looked like Prairie Mom or something like that. Maybe towards the end. I don't know. James Howard talking about $4.99 and change. Johnson Nicholas, $4.99 and change, man. He's made out of wood and hemp. Johnson Nicholas says, good morning, happy Speed Bump Day. Doris Mendiola's on. Ken LG, Ismail lives in an alternate universe that is 30 seconds ahead of ours. It's the only explanation that makes sense. It's, anything is possible, right? Got Bert Duarte, Albert Eliason, Rick Leone, Tim Lujan, Aubreen Merfalin is online this morning. John Torres says, no refund question today. What's your take on Governor's choice for National Guard and Guam Police? I'm unfit, mentally unfit to answer those questions.
They won't release it until April 15th.
That's right. Dwayne Santos is on.
Bases.
I know it. It's just all kinds of people playing around here this morning. I'm glad we're all in that kind of frisky mood here. And that is the theme of today's program. I'm mentally unfit for Speed Hump Day. Almost physically unfit for it as well. You know, I was putting the program together, and well, whatever I pretend to be putting the program together in the morning, and just going over the media and the news sources and stuff. And I didn't feel it until I was sitting at my desk for about 10 or 15 minutes. I got a little crick in the back over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. It feels like I ought to be able to self-adjust, and just do one of these like that and get rid of it, but it ain't working.
Yeah, you got a little muscle and a tink there sleeping. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I'm sure it'll go away before the end of the program. But as I move around, as I jostle for position here in the program, 627, and what are some of the items in the table of contents? Some of the things that we are talking about today. The refund question might actually be an appropriate question today because they are keeping track of the numbers of returns that they've got over at the Department of Revenue and Tax. I'll go over some of that stuff in just a little bit. The question of Stephen Ignacio, fit or unfit for the position of the chief of police, and if you read the story in the news where they're talking about it, you got Dr. Vince Akimoto, who says unequivocally that this guy is definitely physically fit, mentally fit for the position. Then you start to look at Lighthizer and her responses. She has concluded that is not fit from a mental health perspective for consideration for the position of Guam Chief of Police. But later in the article. Later in the article, Kevin points out it looks like she's like walking that back a little bit, saying, this is like a Ron
McNish. It was point in time. Like any medical evaluation, you at this point in time are not fit, but
that could change.
That could change.
If I take my vitamins.
Exactly, if you follow the recommendations.
Say my prayers.
The key is, what were those recommendations? And that's been redacted.
Somewhere out there is the unredacted copy, but whoever leaks it risks a major violation of the HIPAA law. In fact, there's at least...
Maybe yes or no, but Dr. Akimoto doesn't think so.
There's at least one lawyer that I've talked to that says there might be something there. And all you got to do is convince a judge, right? And just take it up and just see what happens. So we'll be very, very careful about the unredacted copies that are floating around. She says, nobody has my full report. That's the problem. People don't understand why he wasn't found fit for duty, and I can't say why, but that would really help people to understand. And so I don't. You want to talk about your sticky wicks that a couple of these doctors are in. And this is where I become very worried about the system here. I wonder, and I don't know who it will come from. And I'm not going to say mark my words, but if it happens, don't get surprised if Lighthizer finds herself in an uncomfortable position vis-a-vis the rest of the government of Guam and finds herself. I'm thinking about that whistleblower from Guam Memorial Hospital that was whistleblowing over at GMH. All of a sudden, she's here, and the next thing you know, you read up about her on Facebook, and she's filed Chapter 747. So I'm just saying it can get really tricky, and the government is a living being. If you think about it as an organism, and the government will do what the government wants to do, and if you go against the grain of that too much, it will turn on you like your body's will turn on you like your body will turn on a virus or bacteria.
Yeah, suddenly when you described it that way, I had vision of a fungus.
Right. It's the government's autoimmune system. So pretty. Yeah, I'm just saying, if it happens, I will feel bad. But remember that I told you that it was going to happen here. 6:31 in the morning already, and we got to jump into headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: the U.S. Immigration Service has issued notice advising that using marijuana or working in the marijuana industry, even on Guam and other jurisdictions where it's now legal under local law, could prevent an immigrant from establishing the good moral character needed to gain U.S. citizenship. The Immigration Service sent out the notice last Friday. It states that the violation of federal controlled substance law, including for marijuana, remains a conditional bar to establishing good moral character. Good moral character is a requirement for naturalization. In general, applicants have to show that they have been and continue to be in good moral standing during the period prior to filing and up to when they take the oath of allegiance to the U.S. The rules and regulations to govern the games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival have finally been recast into a measure that lawmakers can act on. Senator Jose Terlaje introduced Bill number 101 yesterday. Terlaje's committee oversees the Mayor's Council of Guam, which is waiting for approval of the bill so that the council can issue a request for proposals from vendors willing to provide the casino-style card games and other games of chance that are slated to return to the carnival this year after a 2-year absence. A hearing on Bill 101 is set for next Monday. Senator Terlaje, however, is expected to try and get the hearing requirement waived and have the bill placed on the session agenda this week for consideration. Angel Sablan of the Mayor's Council of Guam said it's going to be a race against the clock. According to the revised rules and regulations, any vendor bidding for the right to operate one of the 2 authorized house of cards must construct a fully enclosed structure or building. We're concerned that they may not have enough time to build such a thing, said Sablan. Guam public health officials are urging residents to ensure that they are vaccinated against measles, especially if they're planning to travel off-island. Public Health Immunization Administrator Annette Uggan warns that tourists and other travelers coming from places that have had measles outbreaks can, even without knowing it, spread measles here on island. Uggan said public health officials are monitoring a number of measles outbreaks in different parts of the country and the world, including in New York City and Washington State, as well as the Philippines, Japan, and Australia. She advises island residents who plan summer travel off-island to get vaccinated before they leave. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on. It's 6:34. That's iConnect time. Swing by an iConnect and learn about the great plans they've got. Mobile, internet, even push to talk at iConnect.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders here to tell you about my KFC chicken and waffles. I paired my delicious KFC extra crispy chicken with a scrumptious waffle and drizzled maple syrup over the whole thing, and well, my.
Try our new KFC chicken and waffles, now on Guam, but only for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The GCC Votech Class of 79 is back. Join them on April 27th at the Onward Beach Hotel for a night of dinner, dancing, skits, and reminiscing. It's been 40 years since graduation, so take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime chance to relive the memories. There's also a memorial mass on Friday, the 26th, at the Santa Teresita Church. Be there at 5:30 for candle placement in honor of classmates who've gone before. Tickets for the reunion on the 27th are on sale for $40 a person. For details, find Connie Kittigwas and Nicholas at 488-6108 or Kathy Diaz, 777-3243. Viva 79ers! I hear it. It's 6:35 in the morning and time for our first look at right now traffic. We call it right now traffic because I can actually see what's going on with the gizmo on a variety of roads and intersections. Right now, everything running clear. Might see a little bit of a slowdown as you get from Marine Corps Drive southbound into Sumai and Big Navy. That area there in front of Navy Hospital, it's all clear in front of the Anderson Air Force Base. It looks like there's nothing going to be slowing you down there. You might see a couple of slower intersections, 8, 10, and 16, in between Happy Mart and the gas stations. Southbound looks like it's moving a little bit slow this morning, and you're going to see a slowdown until you get just past Teedzin, that one good intersection. And remember, with the F-16s on display, are they going to be on display today as well? Do you recall? It might actually be cause for a little bit more traffic as people looking for some kind of wow, would you look at that kind of thing. Route 4 into downtown Aguni area looking pretty clean, and most of Route 10 is in the clear right now, except by the schools and over at the intersection. 6:36, that's right now traffic on the point.
Get a half-gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half-gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Real Talk Radio is back. Welcome to The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
That's my favorite kind of message on the WhatsApp, my personal WhatsApp. I got a note from a friend that says, keep me on the down low on this one. I like that. What's it all about? Maybe I'll tell you. I can't tell you now because then you'd be able to put everything together in your head. So I'll wait for a more convenient time in the program. In the meantime, the whole $6 million man thing that we began the program this morning talking about and showing off a little bit of what, not necessarily for me, but I want to say that this was a big deal for my brother when he was growing up. The $6 million man was in fact a big deal. You know, as a big television show, Lee Majors, who was at the time a fine actor for his time, and then later on married Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, it broke our hearts marrying Farrah, which is that's about the time we all had our poster on our walls.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Us and John Travolta in the movie, you remember? And kids today wouldn't. I don't know that they would understand if they had the same standards of beauty that we had back in the 1970s. And somebody like Farrah Fawcett, that face, that hair, that body, that bathing suit.
Yes.
Right?
That pose.
I digress. We're talking about the $6 million man. Lee, and the reason why I bring it up is Lee Majors, the actor, is 80 years old as of yesterday. All right, now, do you want to feel old? There it is. There is that moment where one of our childhood heroes, the actual $6 million man, is 80. Can you imagine?
Peter Frampton, 69.
There, and more of all of that. Peter Frampton, which is a song that was playing in the background on the radio while we were ogling at the picture of Farrah Fawcett Majors. It's all coming back to me now. It's going to be 1977 in my head all day long, 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning. So for fans of Lee Majors, fans of the $6 million man, happy birthday, 80 years old yesterday, and maybe somewhere out there somebody has got the $6 million man toy, just like the kind that I'm watching, you're looking at on the Facebook Live. I couldn't venture. Maybe if somebody gets industrious at some point this morning, do me a favor, hit eBay and see if they've got such a thing. There might you never know. There's always somebody that never threw anything away. Still got crap from the 70s laying around the house, and there might be a decent deal on your $6 million man toy that you might be able to get it for no other reason. Your own nostalgia, your own piece of, like the old Batman and Robin action figures from the 70s, the 60s. In the 70s. Not the new brooding kind of pouty Batman and Robin, but we're talking about the old Adam West version of Batman and Robin. And then I'd like to find one for the Lone Ranger. I want to say in my head there's an image of a Lone Ranger action figure.
Yeah, I think it was on a horse as well.
Yeah. 20 away from so that's where we are. And now you might be curious, and I know I was. When they first, you can almost hear the intro of the TV show in your head, right? The $6 million man. We can rebuild Steve Austin. Da, 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 da. And then you get the music racing up and that noise that he always made. We can rebuild Steve. We can make him better than he ever was before. And so you might be $6 million in 1973 was a lot of money.
That was huge.
Do you realize? I mean, $6 million. That in and of itself, that we would spend $6 million to rebuild a mere man, a mere mortal like Steve Austin. And so you might be curious, Ray, what would that be worth today? What would the $6 million man be worth if we adjusted it for inflation and brought it up to 2019? If we were to have the same kind of catastrophic accident of a test flight of some kind of weird military jet, what would it cost to redo the Bionic Man? using that same kind of $6 million as a base.
What number
You don't know?
I do know. What number did you come up with?
Number I came up with was $34,351,621.62, man.
Okay.
That's if you adjust for inflation, that's where that heads. 34. It would be the $34.33 million man if you wanted to put all of that kind of thing in perspective. Somewhere in there is a lesson about GovGuam finances. I don't know where it is, and I don't, a little bit mentally lazy, mentally unfit to try to take on that challenge just now. But ponder that. Somewhere in there is the connection between what we thought was a lot of money a long time ago, and you start making adjustments for inflation, and you realize it's all just peanuts, isn't it? 6:42 in the morning. 888-8255 is the telephone number. Mo Cotton's on one. Good morning, Mo.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing there?
Well, I got a little trivia for you, poster trivia.
Okay.
Hold it. Let me turn my radio off so I don't.
That's all right. I got you.
Okay, now I got it off. The number one selling poster, I guess it was the 70s, was Mark Spitz with his 7 gold medals. Remember that poster?
I remember Mark Spitz and what a great job he did. Was that the 72 Olympics?
I'm not sure. I think so.
No, but I know exactly. I think I can see the image in my head of Mark Spitz and the poster and the incredible way. Without getting too much into the details, because I've never been a big swimmer, but I'm told that he changed the way people swam at the elite level of the sport. So it wasn't so much he was swimming as much as he was flying in the water, is how I've heard it described.
That's not my trivia, though. I wanted to say that he was the top. That was the top selling poster until Farrah Fawcett came out, and then she was the top selling poster. I mean, she outproduced him, and the people bought that more than his.
I thought you were going to wow and regale me with a story about how Mark Spitz came to Guam in the late 80s.
Well, he's a good friend of mine. Still is. I don't get a chance to talk to him too much now, but he came in the 70s to help with the Barcelona Olympics, and he came because I asked him to come. And
Didn't you get him to talk at the Rotary Club? I think I was there.
Yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I think all the Rotary clubs were put together for that talk.
I think you're right. I think I recall it being kind of a big deal, and we used the big room for the conversation. He was up there talking about the Olympics, Olympic efforts, and things like that. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? I think is one of the lines that he delivered at that speech.
Oh, cool. Well, I don't remember that. I just remember having to introduce him and flustering all over the place to do it. A big crowd.
I appreciate the trivia. How you doing these days?
I'm doing okay. I'm 83, going on 84, and I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah, just now starting to feel it.
Just recently starting to feel it. Actually, it probably was psychosomatic because when I was 70, all through my 70s, I exercised. I probably put in 4 miles a day and did a lot of exercising and felt great. And then as soon as I turned 90, all at once I couldn't get to the bus stop at the end of the road. But I still walk my dogs twice a day, but it's just a lot harder.
You keep taking care of yourself, and now have you found relief with the cannabis? I recall your testimony before the legislature, something in a little bit more recent history. Your testimony over at the legislature. Have you managed to score yourself an ounce and smoke it up?
I don't know. I have not, and I feel no need for it at this time. If I do have cancers, but it's being treated with hormones and all other kinds of pills and stuff, so I have no need for it. But someday when I start feeling pain and I'm in bed or I'm on a wheelchair, I may try it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's the idea. I hear what you're saying and totally respect it. But there's the line of me that says by the time you begin to feel the need for it, it's too late. It is like hydrating in a race or something like that. Don't wait until you're thirsty.
Okay. There's no way until I have pain before I try it.
Exactly. I'd head that sucker off today.
Okay, great.
All right. We appreciate you putting your medical life in my hands.
Well, thanks for letting me talk.
It's always fun hearing from you, Mo. You take care. I'll see you at Payless one of these days. It's 6:47 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. And, yeah, I do recall the meeting at the Rotary Club where Mark Spitz got up and talked to a whole bunch of people. An interesting story for which there is the information will astonish you. I've actually got video on this. I've actually got art on this. And the art that I will play for you is a piece of video that begins with a fire engine. And if I can scooch something up here to a point where I can get a handle on it. There we go. I think I can get this thing playing now. It's a fire engine, and there are officers of the Guam Fire Department, and they're on somebody's rooftop. Where I haven't cleared the audio on this, so you might want to turn that down. They've cleared they're handling what looked to be a parachute.
Firefighters don't curse.
What?
They don't curse.
Yeah, whoever's holding the camera, I don't know. I don't know exactly where the video came from. So I'm just gonna wait this out. I'll narrate it for everybody. So the video, firefighter on top of the roof, and he's got a parachute, and he's lowering it down to the guys below, who are standing a safe distance away. And so the crazy thing here is a parachute floating down without a human next to it or attached to it. And that guy, I think, got a lot of people's attention yesterday and might have been the cause for all of the police and the fire department vehicles that were passing you at light speed on the roadways because they wanted to get to it to find out what was going on as well. Maybe perhaps a few phone calls came in thinking, well, we got a parachute that's coming down and I don't see the guy that's attached to it. Is it possible maybe the guy slipped out of the vest or something like that? Where are we going to find the body, et cetera, et cetera? Tanya Mendiola, the Community Relations Geographic Region Coordinator at JRM, sent out a note to everybody in the media, myself included, at approximately 1 p.m. today. During routine training operations at the Naval Base Guam Drop Zone at Radio Barrigada, a jumper deployed his reserve parachute. After the deployment of the reserve parachute, the main parachute was jettisoned and drifted away from the drop zone and landed on adjacent private property. Navy officials are coordinating with Guam Homeland Security, Guam Fire Department, and the FAA. But can you imagine? I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the guy that was wearing this primary chute and leapt out of, I'm assuming, an airplane of some kind or another, leapt out of the airplane and pulls the button, pulls the cord on the primary, and nothing happens. Do you know how long you've got to pull the reserve cord?
Well, not very long. I've never jumped out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah, literally the rest of your life. You've literally got the rest of your life to pull on the reserve cord. That would have been the next thing. I would have, in my eyes, like making the sign of the cross. Primary is over here, and the reserve is over there. Pull the thing out and see what happens after that. Apparently, the reserve did work. Jettisoned the main parachute, and apparently the guy floated to safety. Were there any injuries? One of the questions, and the answer is no injuries have been reported. Was there damage to the house? I don't know who would ask that kind of question. Is it possible that the flimsy, gauzy material of a parachute might have caused some kind of damage to the house? Well, the answer is no. There was no actual damage to the house. So I think all's well that ends well. But if it was me, I would have gone to the CO almost immediately and said, maybe there's a different job I can do in the military that doesn't involve, as they say, jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. 10 away from the top of the hour, 888-825-5888-TALK. What else do we get to play around here with this morning? What are some of the other big deals? I don't know that I ever finished the riff on Ignacio fit or unfit. Akimoto says he's good to go. Light either says, yeah, you know what, that evaluation I did of him, that was just a kind of a point in time. And like anything else, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, you're sick. So I want you to take this medication. I want you to get yourself deep into this therapy. And if you do, then you can correct whatever it is that's wrong with you. And that's the point that she's making. And she says everything that has to do with is in the part of the document that has been redacted. You can't see it. I can't tell you what it is without violating the HIPAA code. And so she's kind of saying, well, based on my evaluation of him at that time, he was unfit for duty. And there's others in the community that are standing up there saying, despite what may have been the result of that particular evaluation, he's a good guy and he's good to go. No less than former Chief of Police Frank Ishizaki and former Senator Frank Ishizaki says that Stephen Ignacio is good to go. He's worked his way up from the bottom for rookie level and got himself all the education that he needs and work experience that he needs, and should be a fine candidate for the legislature to review and bring up. Now, that's not the only problem. The only problem candidate, you'll recall that there are some smudges, if you will, with Esther Agagi and her role as the adjutant general over at the Guam Guard. Don't know exactly what's going to be happening with that. I think we'll know the answers. I think Pito Turlahi and others over at the legislature are talking about taking those nominations now and just dealing with everything all at the same time, right?
Agagi's nomination is in the voting file.
Right.
It was entered yesterday without debate. So
gotcha. Okay, so we'll see what happens when they get around to doing the vote on that. What happened to Dan Tydinko?
Good question.
Right.
As far as I know, his nomination to the airport board has not been formally withdrawn, but it's kind of in limbo.
Yeah. Well, did it even go into the committee for the rest of the of the review?
No. No, it was never released from the committee.
So it hasn't been withdrawn. No other name has been forwarded from the front office.
Well, other names have been forwarded and approved. I don't know what the
for that role at the airport.
Well, for board member roles on the airport board, I don't know if they need another nominee or not.
Huh.
We'll find out.
Got all morning. Play around with it, and this is the part where as I'm fond of saying, it doesn't matter what the results of the election are because the government keeps getting in, and you got your places of power, you got the governor's office, you got the legislature, but boards and commissions have got an unbelievable amount of power and impact on this community. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at the parole board itself. And parole board made a decision once upon a time, and unfortunately, the result of that decision has changed. I think it's changed this community like you wouldn't believe. We are today hours away. What time is it now? 6:54, almost 7. We're just mere hours away from what is being referred to as a walkout. Enough is enough. And a variety of intersections, front offices, and anything basically where one person can face another is going to be filled with people, I think filled with lots of people today, that are going to raise their hand with the word enough written on it. And because we have had enough. I think, in this town. We need to send the message. Bob Klitsky had a pretty good riff on this yesterday. Was talking about Tina Rose Munya Barnes and the legislature expressing support for this and say we rise in support of this crusade on behalf of the people. And Klitsky came out with a very good point. No, you are the people that need to pay attention. You people over at the legislature, the governor's office, the judiciary. We are the ones. We are telling you that we have had enough, so that you can do something about it from inside the hallowed halls of power here. We got to stop coddling these offenders. We've got to stop looking at things from a purely correctional view and start looking at things from a more penal point of view, a punishment point of view. These people have stepped out of line and in many cases are playing all of us for fools. Now, I'll give you a great example. This guy, Chris Tautau. And there's another story in the Guam Daily Post here today about he's in court for a previous case. And I tell you what, this is the amusing part here. The case was heard before presiding judge Alberto Lamarena in the Superior Court on Guam Tuesday. Ted Tautau, who is in custody at the Department of Corrections, did not appear at the hearing. His attorney, Doug Moylan, said in court that Ted Tautau wasn't feeling well. Oh, here's a Tylenol. Can you take a Tylenol? Oh, but put some Vicks on you. Just will make you feel better, just like Grandma did. Why is Why is he not being... If this had happened to any one of us, the Lemerenda banged the gavel down and said, get your butt in here right now. Or at least find yourself in front of a camera. I don't know. I don't know if I can do the sad voice riff on this because there's nothing. I feel no sadness about this. Robbery suspect in court for a previous case. This guy's been playing the judicial system for a bunch of idiots for years, going back to what is it? Just in this article alone, 2009, 2011, couple of cases in 2017, and here we are, barely into 2019, and on the wrong side of the law again. So what? Gonna another slap on the wrist? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, just when you're feeling better, just come on by, and we'll go ahead and have that conversation about the bad that you did at the place. This guy's and he's in trouble today because he robbed tourists, and that's got at least one guy over at the legislature, Jimmy Moylan, taking a look at our crimes against tourist laws again, to see if maybe there's a little bit more teeth that we might be able to put into some of the enforcement that we get on guys that, Pam Duvall says, Bob got it right. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. So if you're Speaker of the Legislature, Governor of Guam, anybody that, is a member of the legislature, this is not a time for you to come out and say enough. You have the power to do something. You've already got it within your hands. Click your heels 3 times together, Dorothy. You're almost home. You have the power. You need to be on the other side of the people with the enough signs and nod your head and say, I get it, I hear you, I understand, and we'll do something about it. That's all we're asking for in this town. By an odd juxtaposition, and I don't know if they did it this way on purpose, but on one page, where is this? Page 4 of today's PDN. Top of the page talks about a missing fisherman. Bottom of the page talks about this Muffness case, and it ends with this quote: Guam has been in a state of crisis and chaos for years due to the weakened laws and obvious leniency within judicial policies and processes. And that's a quote from the Family Justice Center Alliance. And it talks about the protest at various locations today at 5:05. So it goes there from the bottom of the page to the top of the next page, where it says, man on pretrial release charged in robbery. I don't know if they did it on purpose, because that's the way your eye's going to go. You read down to the bottom of this page, and then you go to the top of the next, right? So it's a continuum of issues that we've got in this town with men and women that have figured out ways that they can game the judicial system, do what they want, rob who they want to, assault who they want to, rape who they want to, and at the end of it all, they just go tear in front of the judge, and or if somebody talks about plea bargaining somewhere, and they find themselves out of doors and usually back in trouble again. I think the cops would get tired of arresting the same bunch of people, don't you? 7 o'clock in the morning, and what do we got here? News? Yeah, Fox News Live, as a matter of fact, coming up here in just a couple of minutes. On the other side of that, we'll find out what's going on in the big stories on Guam with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. That's all ahead right here. Something you want me to riff on, just leave a note on the Facebook Live or send me a deal on the WhatsApp, 988-5874. KUSG Agutnia's 93.3, The Point.
It's in the Supreme Court's hands. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The legal fight over a question the Trump administration wants to add to next year's census. Fox's Jared Halpern was in court for today's arguments, now live in Washington.
The lower courts have blocked inclusion of a citizenship question on the upcoming 2020 census, but justices on the Supreme Court cast doubt on those decisions. The court's conservative majority peppered attorneys about Census Bureau predictions. Hispanic and other immigrant communities could go uncounted. Evidence liberal justices appeared to undermine the administration's argument on the Voting Rights Act is best served by reintroducing a citizenship question into the decennial census. An attorney for the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives argued any addition that could undermine how congressional seats are apportioned is impermissible. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. You can hear much more about this on our podcast, the Fox News Rundown, tomorrow morning at foxnewsrundown.com. New reaction to the Mueller report.
I'm really of the mind that the Mueller report is part of the beginning, It's not the end.
Hillary Clinton at a Time magazine forum saying there's much more to act upon. The president's senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, at the same Time 100 event.
What Russia did, buying some Facebook ads to try to sow dissent and do it, and it's a terrible thing.
Arguing that the investigations and speculation of the past 2 years, as he put it, have had a harsher impact on our democracy than Russia's election interference. Two Chicago brothers say they told the truth about actor Jussie Smollett, using them to stage a hate crime hoax. Now their attorneys are suing Smollett's attorneys for defamation over comments made when charges against Smollett were ultimately dropped. Wall Street rallies, the Dow up 145 on the day and new record highs for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. This is Fox News.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Former Vice President Joe Biden is apparently ready to dive into the deep presidential pool.
Joe Biden is set to become 2020's 20th candidate when an online video drops Thursday morning explaining why he thinks he's the best bet to topple Trump. Then the former VP heads to his home state, Pennsylvania, which Trump won in 2016, for a campaign event at a Union Hall in Pittsburgh on Monday. He reportedly plans to quickly go public with a long list of high-profile endorsements, but there's no indication yet that Barack Obama, who he served as VP for 2 terms, is ready to back Biden.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Washington. The deadline's just passed for the IRS to turn over 6 years of the president's tax returns to a House committee.
The president's pretty clear. Once he's out of audit, he'll think about doing it, but he is not inclined to do so at this time. He turned over hundreds of pages of a financial disclosure form during the campaign. Everyone knows he's a very successful billionaire.
Deputy White House spokesman Hogan Gidley insisting there's nothing nefarious there. The Treasury Secretary had already denied the committee chairman's request, citing ongoing consultations with the Justice Department. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi just confirming she plans to meet with President Trump next week to talk about an area of possible agreement in Congress: infrastructure funding. This Wisconsin man is set for life.
I screamed for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Manuel Franco describing how amazing it was to realize he had the winning ticket for last month's $768 million Powerball jackpot. He's taking the lump sum, $477 million. The 24-year-old says he played every week and felt so lucky when he bought that last batch of Quick Picks, he almost winked at the security camera. But he also admitted he started feeling paranoid when he won and put the ticket in a safe. 2 state lawmakers proposing a bill today that would make Wisconsin a state where winners could remain anonymous. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a Day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Dr. Vince Akimoto says he believes Captain Stephen Ignacio is both physically and mentally qualified to serve as Guam's police chief. Told the Guam Daily Post, "Absolutely, I believe he is fit for duty." The doctor's evaluation of Ignacio revealed normal mental status and hemodynamic stability, hemodynamic referring to the flow of blood within the organs and tissues of the body. Akimoto, who is a family physician, conducted a follow-up examination of Captain Ignacio on March 29th after clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthizer conducted a fitness for duty evaluation on Captain Ignacio on March 11th. Lighthizer concluded that Ignacio is not fit from a mental health perspective for consideration for the position of Guam Chief of Police. Most of the rest of Lighthizer's letter, however, was redacted by the legislature's Public Safety Committee. The committee has recommended that Captain Ignacio be confirmed as Chief of Police. Dr. Akimoto declined to discuss his evaluation of Ignacio, citing patient confidentiality. However, he said it would be very helpful for the public to see the redacted portions of Dr. Lighthizer's report. Lighthizer told the Guam Daily Post that her evaluation of Ignacio, like any other medical evaluation, was conducted at one point in time, she said. When asked if she stands by the conclusion she reached initially, she said yes, absolutely, but she emphasized that her evaluation made some recommendations which, if followed, could have remedied her findings. If what was released in the media is true, that Dr. Akimoto gave him a full medical clearance, said Dr. Lighthizer, then it seems like they followed those recommendations, she said. A man who killed his former girlfriend in 1988 has been paroled after spending over 30 years in prison. Francis Anthony Castro Cruz was released from the custody of the Department of Corrections last week following a parole board hearing. Back in July 1988, Cruz spotted his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Lydia Marie Camacho Uggan, on a motorcycle with another man. He chased them down, hit them with his car. While Uggan was pinned underneath the vehicle, Cruz crawled under the car, shot and killed her. He also wounded the man who was with her. Cruz was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. The victim's family pleaded against his release from prison during the hearing last week, but the parole board granted Cruz's request for parole, and he was freed. Recently, the parole board released a convicted child sex predator who subsequently was rearrested and charged earlier this month on allegations of kidnapping and raping a 10-year-old girl on her way to school. Yesterday, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero appointed retired U.S. Navy veteran Franklin Leon Guerrero to replace parole board chairwoman Michelle Hope Titanhope. We'll have more news after this.
Attention homeowners. MRE solar energy systems now come with battery storage for zero money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. It's solar with battery storage exclusively by Micronesia Renewable Energy. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE. The smarter choice.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more information. GTA.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Guam lawmakers yesterday approving an amendment to Senator Regine Visco Lee's Bill number 1-35 that doubles the expansion of the tax exemption for small businesses that was proposed in her initial version of the bill. On the floor yesterday, Senator Lee proposed amending her bill by allowing a business making more than $50,000 a year, but less than $250,000 a year, to pay a business privilege tax rate of just 3% instead of the current 5% on the business's first $100,000 of earned income. The senator acknowledged that would also double the revenue loss for GovGuam to $4.4 million, but it would also expand the savings for individual businesses to $2,000 annually. When our experts warn us of negative economic growth, we have to act, said Senator Lee, who argued that the savings for the small businesses would be spent right here on island. Senator Therese Terlahi expressed concern about the increased exemption because of the loss of revenue for GovGuam, and she proposed amending the amendment to require that any business who wants the expanded tax exemption pay a minimum wage of $10 an hour to its employees. Senator Terlahi's amendment was defeated. Senator Lee's amendment to expand the BBT tax exemption passed. Bill number 1 was moved to the voting file. The rules and regulations to govern the games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival have finally been recast into a measure that lawmakers can act on. Senator Jose Pito Terlahi introduced Bill number 101 yesterday with those rules in it. Terlahi's committee oversees the Mayor's Council of Guam, which is waiting for approval of the bill so the council can finally issue a request for proposals from vendors willing to provide the casino-style card games and other games of chance that are slated to return to the carnival this year after a 2-year absence. A hearing on Bill 101 is set for next Monday. However, Senator Terlahi is expected to try and get the hearing requirement waived and have Bill 101 placed on the session agenda this week. Mayor's Council President Angel Sablan says it's going to be a race against the clock. According to the revised rules and regulations, any vendor bidding for the right to operate one of the 2 authorized house of cards must construct a fully enclosed structure. Sablan said we're concerned that there may not be enough time to build such a thing. The 75th Liberation Carnival is set to begin June 5th. It's scheduled to run 60 days through August 3rd. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
Thank you, man. Fire weather watch is in effect through Thursday evening because it has not rained enough to prevent any of the sword grass and the leaves and everything from being tinder out there. So watch out for any burning that's going on. Mostly sunny today with a slight chance of light showers. Winds out of the east, 15 to 20 miles an hour, decreasing a little bit overnight. Highs 89 degrees and overnight lows are set about 76 degrees, but add a couple extra degrees just because it ain't windy either. So not a whole lot to help cool you off. Sunset tonight, 6:35. Sunrise at 6:03. The weather whisperer Michael Knight now with his interpretation, if you will, of the radar.
Yeah, still got those isolated showers. Looks like more on the north to central portion of the island this morning. So, yeah, you could get a little bit of rain on your way to work, especially if you work up at Anderson. Everybody else could see a sprinkle or 2 on the roadways. Be careful, though, because when it rains lightly like this, the roads get very, very slick. Looking at satellite there, not much in the way of clouds to worry about. The stuff that we do see to the east, it's kind of a confusing picture on satellite is what we get. You've got things moving in 2 different directions. The stuff moving from east to west,
I used to
or
date
right
a girl
to
like
left.
that.
Yeah, I was married to one. And that stuff down, that's actually at the surface. And
Wasn't the same one, was it?
No, I think not. But they might have been sisters. But get me all sidetracked here. Anyway, that stuff moving right to left is at the surface. The other stuff you see off to the east moving the other direction, that's all at the upper levels. That's the clouds that moved over us yesterday and kind of kept the sun dimmed down, and it did actually make for a much nicer day than we were expecting. Today, I think we're going to get the hot day that we were expecting yesterday, so watch out for that. Again, as you mentioned, fire danger very high. Things have already been burning, will continue to do so as long as you stop it. All fires are caused by humans for the most part.
Yes. Yeah, they bust that. Okay. 7:15, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. transaction. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
The Ray Gibson Show is being brought to you by a whole gaggle of supporters, big friends of mine, and that's cool. It's nice to have guys like Guam Regional Medical City a part of the program. First choice for your specialty care needs. APL, they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. When you get the hungries a little bit later on, check out the Hot and Juicy over at Wendy's. And don't forget about running by Cars Plus up in Mighty. Go and see Jen and Joey and find out about the Gladiator. We got a couple of buddies of mine, fast hiking buddies, that already have. In fact, one of these guys, my buddy Mark, he's already got what I consider to be the knockdown, drag out, sexiest Jeep on Guam. And then he saw a picture of the Gladiator. And the Gladiator is the Jeep. Maybe you've seen a version of this because Joey's got one. It's the version of the Jeep with a pickup truck bed in the back of it. Yes, and they're supposed to start selling that before too much longer over at Cars Plus. So check out Jen and Joey for details on that at Cars Plus in Mighty.
Any speaker, anytime. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Trying to sort out what happened over at the legislature yesterday with Bill number 1 and where they are, what the form of it. Now, it's moved to the voting file, right? So the conversation is over.
Yeah, and she issued a release this morning highlighting questions that are been asked.
That Jerry Roberts is asking right now?
That's right.
Okay, so the first question is, does the
Bill number 1, as amended, holds the Dave Santos Act in place while adding a second benefit to slightly larger businesses. Under this measure, as amended, a business making more than $50,000 a year but less than $250,000 a year will pay a BPT rate of 3% instead of the 5% on its first $100,000 earned.
But the first 40 of that, excuse me, thank you. But the first 40 of that would be exempt under the Santos Amendment, if you qualify for that. Got to be. If it's in there, the first 40 is exempt, and from 40 up
is
to
that
100,
how it currently stands?
Yeah, first 40
then
is
it's unchanged.
Okay, if you qualified to have it last year, in other words, if you make over a certain amount, which I guess is 40,000, you don't get it the next year. It isn't a continuing.
Here's
benefit.
another question: does Bill number 1, as amended, change the Dave Santos Act? No. The current provisions of the Dave Santos Act remain the same. Businesses with a gross income of $50,000 or less are still eligible for their first $40,000 earned to be exempt from the BPT.
Okay, and now it goes up to 100, right? Or is it between 50 and between 40
so
and
after
250?
exemption from there
from
to
40
250,
to 250, it's 3%.
You pay 3% BPT.
So now the question is, because I heard the thing about Therese Chalahi's trying to throw in the
Minimum
$10
wage.
per,
that was defeated.
Okay, so if you're in that $210,000 window from 40 to 250 that goes down to 3%, the question now is how many active business licenses on Guam qualify under that? And I would imagine a lot of them do.
I want to say that they had some numbers that they were dealing with and figured out that the dip in revenue from these businesses would be something like $4.4 million. But it's my position that these businesses are going to spend $4.4 million out in companies that will pay the full 5% BPT.
That was her argument.
Yeah.
Here's another question. How many of Guam's businesses fall under the 50,000 to 250,000 category? A total of 2,200 businesses fall under that category. That's the answer.
Well,
there we go.
Those,
All right, let's see what
those
happens.
2,200 people are going to be happy.
And their customers ought to be happy. Because they ought to be able to hold prices down as a result of the changes, as a result just of having access to the Dave Santos Amendment.
And maybe their employees might be happy.
And
Because
businesses that they
can
buy from
increase
ought to
maybe
be
a
happy.
salary. Yes.
Because the businesses that these people shop at are going to be getting all of that money that they're not giving to the government of Guam. So that's
Or they'll just keep the prices where they are and keep charging an arm and a leg and not give anything to anybody.
I don't know which small businesses you seem to be shopping at, my friend. 7:20 in the morning. That's
Why
there's
so
always got to be somebody.
cynical?
There's always got to be a frowny. Did you notice that? It's always it is. Sometimes Mikey gets to be
Even
the
if
frowny.
you're right, why so cynical?
I'm the conspiracy guy. That's my
That's
job,
right,
man.
That's right. All right, let's take a look at the numbers on the market today. Everybody in the green, yay! S&P 500, 29,933. The NASDAQ at 8120. They're up by 105 points. That's not bad for the NASDAQ. Dow Jones Industrial Average, 26,656. They picked up 145 points because I'm talking about the Jeep Gladiator. That's the only reason why. 26,656 is where the Dow is going to be opening up tomorrow. FTSE is green. The Nikkei opens up in the green at 22,259. And now we've got as many new Japanese that seem to have rediscovered Guam, according to the guys over at GVB and the airlines. So maybe the Nikkei is relevant to us once again. What do we got? Hang Seng's off by just nothing here. Shanghai is off by about 16 points. And the DAX is in the green, 13.12 points to close at 12,235. You're buying commodities? Everybody buys one kind of commodity, whether you know it or not. The West Texas crude, $66.18. What was it yesterday, Ray? $65.55.
It's summertime.
All right, yeah. So they had to change the formulations for gasoline, but we're watching the prices go up. I hesitated. 74.72 is where Tapas was lingering just the other day. 76.71. It's gone up $1.99.
Don't touch that dial.
Yeah,
you know they're itching for it now. They heard you talk about it.
Yeah, that's just a precursor. I just let you know what's going to be going on. 76.71 now for a barrel of Tapas crude. That's where that number is here this morning. So watch out for all of that. 7:22. There were a couple of other businessy things that I kind of wanted to go over here this morning. We talked yesterday about the small business, the Guam PTAC, and some of the courses that they're offering for absolutely free. There might be a couple of other things that I wanted to riff on here before we get into the extra point. I'm probably not going to find it in time. So let's go directly into the extra point. Jerry Roberts now brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
He headed up the workplace research arm for the Gallup organization for many years and conducted the largest surveys ever attempted in that space. In his latest book, Marcus Buckingham reveals the one thing people need to be happy on the job. What that is coming up next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Hey, are you ready to afford the good life? For example, cooking in a gourmet kitchen that is as amazing as your skills. Or how about paying off tuition? Or maybe expanding your home to make room for your parents. Live beyond your dreams, within your means, with a low-rate home equity line of credit from First Hawaiian Bank. To learn more or to apply, visit any branch or FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Marcus Buckingham was a key presenter one year during our leadership events, and his session was an eye-opener. As the leader of Gallup's global workplace research effort, he had access to information and analysis very few people could match. In his latest book, The 9 Lies of Work, Buckingham goes after the common belief among many workers that nothing matters more than salary, perks, and how cool their company is. It's the perception that if I could just work for Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, or any of those tech giants, then my life would be so perfect. Here in Guam, we have some forward-thinking organizations as well, and maybe you've said the same thing about working with one of them. Unfortunately, Buckingham calls it one of those 9 biggest lies about work. Once you've joined a company that looks great on the surface, you can still end up miserable. I have a niece who works at Facebook, and my wife and son got to tour the campus a few months ago. The land of Zuckerberg features an amazing array of restaurants and personal services that employees can access free of charge. The goal is to keep them on campus, happy, and focused on their job. No doubt other marquee employers have similar benefits. According to Buckingham, the downside of this is that decisions about pay and perks and future opportunities are beyond your control, even your input. Unless you're at the executive level, it's doubtful your voice will carry far throughout the organization. There are some notable exceptions here locally where that does happen, and I hope you get a check from one of those every couple of weeks. Now, about one thing Buckingham says, we all need to be happy at work. The one thing we need to be happy at work, it's the team that you work with. From your direct supervisor to everybody you interact with on a daily basis. If you like those people and get along with them well, and you really look forward to going to work every day, then you've essentially hit the workplace lottery. If you have all that, just appreciate it, because a lot of people are in their car right now, headed to a job where they don't feel the way you feel about yours. Perks and the cool stuff in a company are fun to begin with, but after a while, if you describe your employment to a friend, you'll likely be talking about how you're treated, if you like the work you do, and if you like your boss. When deciding to pursue a job, it won't hurt to find out if the company knows how to build teams, if they're going to offer regular training and support, and how are they on trust? Are their managers known for building people up or beating them up? Pay and perks certainly count, but Buckingham is right. This is the one thing that's really most important. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Nice. I like that, and it never mattered where I worked in my career, and you've known me since my career began. It didn't matter what the quality of the equipment was, but it was just, I loved going to the radio station. I'd do whatever it took to let me hang out with guys like you and Joe Cunningham and Rip and Reed and all of those kinds of things. And so it's just been one of those things. Every day has been better than the one that came before it, leading me up to where we are here. Yeah, I hope as you're driving to work this morning that you're going to someplace that you love and you couldn't wait to get to this morning. Is a friend from mutual friend of ours from the Guam Contractors Academy who has sent a picture up on Facebook this morning. He was watching sunrise from his office. I don't think he slept there. I'm pretty sure he was just that gung-ho to get to work today, and I think that's cool. 7:20. So there were a couple of other businessy things I wanted to hand you. Later on, there's going to be this on the 26th. In fact, the 2019 Stock Market Game Awards ceremony will be taking place at Pac Star in the Chamorro Ballroom in Tumon. Now, the way this works is they give these kids a virtual cash account of $100,000, and then they say, okay, do your investments. Right. And so the top 3 finishers, Upi Elementary, started with $100,000. And their portfolio is now valued at $121,144. Father Duenas in second place, portfolio value $123,482, and Estumbo Middle School portfolio value $126,152. That ain't bad. Not bad. $100,000, and they were able to churn $26,152 in investment. Way to go. Good on you. Love to see more of this kind of thing in the schools. Now, absolutely. A couple of things that you might want to riff on, just as a thought, based on today's rich headline environment. Right? You ready? Yeah. Convicted murderer granted parole. And a point that was made here with Mike earlier is, what's a convicted murderer to do once he has been paroled out? He's a free man. And people on the board say you've done your time and go out there in the community, sin no more. And this guy shows up at your office and fills out an application. What do you do, boss?
Depends on what's on the application. First of all, you're probably not going to know.
Number two.
Unless you're right on top of the news.
Well, guys, pictures in the front page of the newspaper. Anyway, you don't have to. I'm just saying. You can pocket this and make it an extra point later.
All right. Well, can I just give you a fast
Sure.
one?
Yep.
Okay. If you're
Drive by.
if you're in a situation where you've got a black mark on your history, whether it be for incarceration or something else, be up front about it. You don't want to start a job somewhere with a lie. So be up front, find an employer that's willing to go with that, and start over.
You're not, well, maybe you are hiring for a chief of police, and you send the guy out for an evaluation of one kind or another, and you got something comes back and says you're unfit for service. What do you do, boss?
I think in this case, both doctors need to get together. I think to the extent that you can reveal that information, if indeed he has taken steps to do the things that the first doctor said he should do, then let's find that out.
Are there jobs in the private sector that you think maybe psych evaluation should be a part of the application process?
Oh, sure. Talk show host.
right off the top. Oftentimes, I think maybe sometimes we ought to psychologically evaluate people that are running for public office.
Oh, maybe.
I think there ought to be one of those
so?
things. Yeah. I'd like to see Lighthizer going through all 15 members of the 35th Guam legislature and apply the same standards that you've applied to Stephen Ignacio. I'd like to see that on the 15 people that are going to be evaluating that evaluation.
Now, talk about somebody right now who's licking her chops.
I would love to do that. On the other hand, she could be saying, "Oh God, please make him stop saying my name. Please, I just want to get out of this. I just want to go back to being a private citizen. I don't need this. I don't need this crap in my life." Challenger Deep exhibition. There is going to be the 5 Deeps expedition. Rob McCallum's going to be in the studio around this time tomorrow talking about it, the 5 Deeps expedition and all the things that go into play. Can you imagine planning something like this out? Here's what we've got to do. You're a project manager, boss. And the guy comes to you and says, "Okay, what's my new project?" He says, "We're going to have you dive 7 miles beneath the surface of the ocean." Can you imagine
and it's
everything
only been done twice before?
Exactly. Can you imagine all of the planning that's got to go into that, all of the contingencies that you've got to be prepared for, every single inch of water, all the way down?
Yeah. Would you want to know the guy that's doing the maintenance on the ship? If the little thing that goes down?
Sure. Who's in charge? Who's in charge of the wire? What happens if the electricity goes south? What happens, if springs a leak down at their bottom are there practice sessions that we can do?
If it springs a leak,
oh, that's it. Well,
that's it.
Yeah, the good news is that you won't know. It'll happen so fast. The implosion.
But just imagine being in that type of project, knowing you're going to be the one that gets to go down and do that. I mean, we're so few people have gone before. We're talking about what, 2?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
have gone before. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that should be an incredible interview tomorrow.
I think it'll be fun to talk about. There's a kind of shoe that you can buy that is based on a guy that tried to break the 2-hour marathon barrier, and he got really close. And the guys over at Nike and the entire team did everything possible. They looked at every possible the criteria, every possible variable, and tried to manage it. So we want to put him in a stadium where there's air, but we don't necessarily have wind around, so he's not going to have hard laps or hard portions of the course. We're going to look at millimeter by millimeter the shoe and how that's going to impact him, what he's going to be wearing, what he's going to be eating. Like I said, the project management, the Gantt charts on this thing must have taken up 2 or 3 walls. So it's you start talking about those kinds of high level, huge project planning. I think that's where managers really cut their teeth on some fun projects.
And they earn every dollar that they get.
All right,
but it's exciting. I mean, that's what you're pushing the envelope.
We got to earn a couple of dollars around here, get some headlines on the radio, and play some commercials. That's Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and the guys over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. Yes, it's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. In Superior Court yesterday, the defense rested its case on day 6 of the trial of Pastor Renato Capilli-Bossi, accused of inappropriately touching a 14-year-old girl on repeated occasions and sending her inappropriate emails and making inappropriate phone calls to her. Bossi is the former pastor of Living Lighthouse Baptist Church in Barrigada. Prior to resting his case yesterday, defense attorney Stephen Attore called Bossi's wife and daughter back to the stand again in order to counter prosecution testimony on Tuesday. The wife and the daughter both testified again about the teen's allegedly troubled behavior. Previous testimony the day before from prosecution painted the girl as being known to lie and making up stories. On Tuesday, prosecution called a couple of rebuttal witnesses to debunk those claims against the teen. Bossi has denied the allegations. Closing arguments are expected today in Superior Court. The U.S. Immigration Service has issued notice advising that using marijuana or working in the marijuana industry, even on Guam and other jurisdictions where it's now legal under local law, could prevent an immigrant from establishing the good moral character needed to gain citizenship in the U.S. The Immigration Service sent out the notice last Friday. It states that the violation of federal controlled substance law, including for marijuana, remains a conditional bar to establishing good moral character. Good moral character is a requirement for naturalization. In general, applicants have to show that they have been and continue to be in good moral standing during the period prior to filing and up to when they take the oath of allegiance to the U.S. Guam public health officials urging residents to ensure they are vaccinated against measles, especially if they're planning to travel off-island. Public Health Immunization Administrator Annette Uggan warning that tourists and other travelers coming back from places that have had measles outbreaks can, even without knowing it, spread measles here on Guam. Uggan said public health officials are currently monitoring a number of measles outbreaks in different parts of the U.S. and throughout the world, including New York City and Washington State, the Philippines, Japan, and South Korea. She advises island residents who plan summer travel off-island to get vaccinated before they go. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Gotcha. It's 7:37 already in the morning. Yes, Ray Gibson here. And a reminder to swing by the nearest iConnect office and learn everything that you need to learn about using their incredible mobile phones attached to their incredible internet plans. And you, too, might be floating around some interesting pictures on your WhatsApp. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that at iConnect.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
The University of Guam presents Tritons Out Loud. Celebrate a day of diversity on Friday, April 26th at the University of Guam Calvo Fieldhouse from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Come out and experience the opening parade, food trucks, fashion and entertainment, and more.
Let's have some fun.
This event is open and free to the public. Join the first ever Diversity Day where we celebrate unity, pride, sexuality, individuality, and diversity of the Triton and Island community. Tritons Out Loud.
Traffic Gizmo time, 7:38. And what do you suppose it's like? Is it going to be smooth sailing, clear running all the way through? No. You might see a little bit of traffic getting into Anderson Air Force Base. That's up in the top. Southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive is going to busy up just before you get, looks like around the fire station up in Jigo, and then a little bit more as you get closer to Isangsong. And then it's open, and then it'll busy up again at the intersection of 1 and 3. Harder on 3 than it is on Marine Corps Drive. You see a little bit of traffic in front of the Micronesia Mall, that turn in there. And, oh, by the way, have you heard that the line over at Jollibee now has, for all intents and purposes, disappeared? Very short wait times. But I'm not sure if they still have everything in the store. That's a couple of things that I'm hearing about that. Marine Corps Drive southbound might see definitely some slowing down up around St. John's. But once you get past that intersection, shouldn't be too much of a hassle getting anywhere else. 8, 10, and 16 is ugly. I can't even describe it. I got red marks all over the place. So if you're in that area right now, expect some delays. 10 and 15, Route 10, You'll find some busy spots over by the schools, and then the rest of it is all just wherever you happen to see an intersection, you'll see traffic moving slower. It's 7 o'clock, 7:40 in the morning, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
Never at the top. That's the story of my life as a talk show host. You come in here armed with all kinds of incredible topics and story options and talk ideas, and it's always buried in a stack of paper this big. So I got to thumb through it until I can find what it is that I'm looking for. Karina Farron and folks from the Justice Alliance on the air in just a few minutes. And an interesting presser that went out yesterday from the governor's office. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has appointed Franklin Leon Guerrero to the Guam Parole Board. Mr. Leon Guerrero will replace Michelle Hope Taitano. Frank is an outstanding member of our community, known for his involvement in several organizations, said Governor Leon Guerrero, but he's also a fierce advocate for just and fair government. Frank will make an exceptional addition to the Guam Parole Board. Mr. Leon Guerrero, a veteran and graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis. He's also earned a master's degree from the Air Command and Staff College. Mr. Leon Guerrero previously served on the Alcohol Beverage Control Board and chaired the Special Olympics Guam for numerous years. And then it says, for inquiries, find Janella, et cetera, et cetera. And it doesn't say much about Michelle Hope Taitano, the nature of her departure from the board. And I can't recall whether she was just up for replacement, if her time on the board had elapsed, or if she serves at the pleasure of the governor. And given the nature of the headlines that we have had in the last bunch of days, it is possible that the governor said, hey, Michelle, appreciate the work you've done here, but you got to go. There's just too many questions, and today's headlines bear out some similar thought from among people. The parole board has now freed a murderer, and there's an interesting story on that. That on the day where an incredible number of people are going to be going outside trying to send a message to the government that we've had enough of this kind of thing. Is that the scenario that it went down in, or is it possible somebody at the governor's office got a copy of this picture here? It's not the most sharpest picture in the world, and I don't know where we got it. It's Mike got it from somebody, and now it's in my WhatsApp.
Yeah, it came across my news feed on Facebook. Yeah. Now, I'm kind of a forensic guy when it comes to pictures because I'm debunking crappy pictures all the time. This one, it almost looks like it could be photoshopped, and I say that because around Ms. Taitano, you see a bit of a highlight around the overall, all around. That could be because she's backlit, but the others don't seem to be backlit in the same way. The thing that makes me think it may not be photoshopped is the fact is that it's uniformly blurry.
Right, all the characters have the same blur.
That's a filter you could actually put on after putting the overlays.
All right, that's the conspiracy theorist view. I'm not saying it is, but it's a picture of somebody that looks like Michelle Taitano standing next to a guy that looks like Paul Muffness in some kind of a festive situation. And I think maybe the guys over at the governor's office might have seen something like this and said, okay, that's it. Fun's over. Pull the plug. Could be what the deal is there. I don't know. We'll see what we can find out. 7:44 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. And as I said, I join and I rise in support of thousands of people. If you take a look on the internet, if you take a look at your Facebooks and your Instagrams, you will see the same images floating up in a lot of places. It's the Guam flag, it's a hand, and it's the word enough. And if you're wondering where you are going to be today, where you could be today, I've got Karina Farron on the line. Good morning, Karina.
Hi, Ray. Good morning.
Good morning. I know that you're super busy, and you guys have been adding locations. You know, what started with what looked like about 7 or 8 locations yesterday has exploded now to a significantly larger number of spots where there will be residents that are going to be taking literally an active hand in getting the message to our representatives in government that we have had enough.
Yes, I woke up this morning and I'm just flooded with emails and text messages everywhere, Facebook, WhatsApp. It just definitely an overload, and so I'm really trying to catch up and just make sure that I'm incorporating all those locations that people want us to know where they're going to be at.
Okay, well let's go with some of the new locations if you don't mind.
Okay, so
or if you want to, you can just go through all of them. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just realized I'm looking at the latest image. I think the latest image on the Guam Family Justice Center Alliance page on Facebook, and it's just bigger than it was yesterday.
Yes, it is. I actually had to make 2 rows of it, and it looks like I'm going to extend some more because I haven't put out the latest one for this morning, and just because there's some more coming in, I need to check my messages.
Mm-hmm.
But we have Chief Kapua intersection, Yogi intersection, ITC intersection, Airport Road, Marine Drive intersection, Padre Palomo Park intersection. There's going to be a ton of people in front of Mosa's restaurant. Mighty Cars Plus intersection, we have some people out there. Price Elementary School intersection, definitely a huge number of people there. Adelup intersection, Synergy East Hagåtña, La Isla Arcade Building, which is where Talent Box is. Oasis Empowerment Center, we just got that call in last night.
Cool.
Route 1 meets Route 2 Infusion Side near Big Navy. Wow. And then Machalik Fish Mart in Hagåtña, in Hagat. And then KWAM Studios, Harmon Loop Road, Girl Power at Weiss Bangston Road at the mobile intersection, Manila in front of Kadu, and then the legislature. I think we have a variety of them scattered throughout the island. We haven't actually got know exactly where they're going to be at. Several mayor's offices, they ask that you contact the mayor's office as to find out the location of where they're going to be at. The Guam National Guard Readiness Center, Nissan Upper Tumon, GTA Upper Tumon, Barragata intersection 76 Circle K, Security Title Curbside, they're joining us, and then across GCIC building, the Hagåtña Bay. That's what I have.
Yeah, these are areas that have already been identified as sites where there will definitely be people, and we've been asking over the last couple of days, either on Facebook or on our Facebook Live, where are you going to be? You know, where is it that you're going to be hanging out? I was over with Mo last night over at Mosa's, and she says, yeah, we're definitely going to be a big part of this. I was probably going to be there anyway, so that's I'd like to have the opportunity to go out there and stand side by side with some friends of mine from there. Many of them are women, and this is one of the conversations that we have is just how lenient the system seems to be on these recidivists that got out there that don't really get the idea that maybe they've been given some kind of a second chance and don't blow it, but they continue to blow it with criminal sexual conducts and assaults and robberies and thefts and burglaries and things like that. A point that Bob Klitsky made yesterday, and I underscored it a little bit this morning because I think it's important. I'm glad that the legislature and Adelup are participating in this, but they're not necessarily people we want transmitting the message. They are the people we want receiving the message. They are the ones with the power to make the changes. So if you're the governor, if you're the speaker, if you're a member of the 35th Guam legislature and you get out there, we don't want you to have enough on your hand. We want you to be out there seeing all the people that do.
Yes, absolutely. It's so important that they understand that there's a job to be done, and they have to stick to their job ethically, wholeheartedly, and do their job. I mean, so many times we get comments that where there's too much, I'm not getting paid enough. I mean, you just hear these comments and you're just baffled, going, what do you mean you don't get paid enough? This is your job. You took the oath. In so many different departments, so many different people that and here we are as volunteers, with no hidden agenda, just for the fight to actually have a place for victims and to be able to make victims be heard. And here we are working overtime. I mean, I was up since 3:30 this morning, in addition to reading all the new bills that the several of the senators are proposing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's just a lot of work for us as we're trying to review and research and do a lot of data collection to understand the big picture of it all.
Do you feel more hopeful after having read some of the new legislation that has been proposed?
Yes, I do. Definitely we are getting different parts from different senators. I mean, they're all coming forward. We just don't want quick legislation, and I think that's important for everybody to understand. We really want to make sure that what is proposed works. We take a look at what's already there, and I think Senator Tina Munoz Barnes brought up that key thing, which is what we talked about many years ago. Let's see, maybe the very first time we did the walkout when there was senators that were doing their best to launch bills, but we noticed some discrepancies in that. I think the main thing for us is that if this is a common issue for us all, and it's a big issue for us all, I really think that a unified legislature needs to come together and really pick it apart and make sure that it works well for the victims and because they're one of the things that we're doing, which is where our board met, is we were taking a look at the new bills being proposed and said, wait a minute. There's some key things in there where it talks about another code, and so we had to go back to that code. Then we had to take a look at the parole board rules and regulations. We had to open that up, and then when we took a look at the current codes, I mean, it's a lot of work, So,
to be sure, but we run into a situation where there sometimes feels like there's a disconnect. The legislature may have approved something. I'll give you an example. Is the legislature? I remember Brant McCree put up a hell of a fight on this bill for chemical castration of certain offenders, and it would be the Department of Corrections that would be responsible for it. They apparently no funding for it. Nobody at DepCorp bothered to find any funding or even come up with some kind of a plan on how to implement this chemical castration, which I think there are a lot of people that had issues with it back in 2016 when it first came up that may not necessarily have a problem with it now, given the recidivism and the big headline case that everybody seems to be concerned about. So, the intention of the legislature may be there, but does that intention follow through in the departments, agencies, boards, and commissions that we task to implement these rules?
Exactly. I mean, the moment that you put up a bill, definitely have a project outline on how all this is going to be implemented. Especially just like you said, the funding and then also, I think there was another issue that we had talked about when we met as to why the chemical castration didn't go through, and I believe it was to where the perpetrator can choose to do it or not. And we need to just kind of go back and make sure about that it wasn't something that was forced upon, that they actually had a choice to choose if they wanted it or not. But don't quote me on it.
Well, I think it was as a condition of parole, I think.
Right.
I think that was part of it, and I think there's also a question of to what degree would the Department of Corrections or the government of Guam be liable for maintaining this the program, the injections and the therapy, number one, and what happens in the case if something went horribly wrong and somebody died as a result or got sick as a result of it. But these are questions that are easy to resolve given some time and attention. I think there's another quote that I'd like to attribute to you guys here. In the Daily News. Hold on a second. Let me just get to it here. Guam has been in a state of crisis and chaos for years due to the weakened laws and obvious leniency within judicial policies and processes. Outside of the legislature, outside of the governor's office, there is a third branch of government that needs to see the hands with the enough. In your conversations, I mean, are you having conversations with anyone in the judiciary and on the bar that that might be able to help guide this conversation so that we don't have what feels like this revolving door over at the courts and the continuous little baby slaps on the wrists and, the admonitions, don't do that again. It's time to come to Jesus, which nobody ever seems to take to heart.
Yes, we did have that discussion when we met with our board, and we did talk about how we need to get a task force of lawyers and people in the judicial system to make sure that these policies that are being done are accurate and correct. Of course, we definitely do need help in that department just to make sure that we've taken a look at every angle. And it's extremely important that gets done.
Got to close the loopholes. Antoinette Flores says, "Speak about it, my sister. I'm so proud of you." Dwayne Santos says, "Good morning, Antoinette." And back and forth, we get a lot of what is it? The love and the thumbs up emojis. We're getting a whole bunch of those in the midst of this conversation. And as I say, I know how busy you are. I know you want to keep things updated on the Facebook page. Again, you can go to their page. It's online all the time, and there's all kinds of people with all kinds of comments that they want to make. And most important of all is, where are you going to be at 5 o'clock this afternoon? Where are you going to be raising your hand?
I will be at the Airport Road intersection meeting Marine Drive. So I will be there. So the stretch all the way to American Music, and definitely come out and join us. A key thing that I do want to point out is we'd like to form a chain link single file line when we come up to the curbside when we at 5:05 when we lift up our hands in support of the victims.
Can people bring posters?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely to hold your hands up in solidarity for 15 minutes.
Gotcha. Karina, good luck. I know where I'm going to be. I know I think I got a pretty good handle on who I'm going to be with. How do you determine success here? It's a big project, lofty goals. Tried it a few years ago, and got a little bit closer to the goal. You're in the end zone, right? What's success feel like to you?
Well, I'm not sure if we're totally in the end zone, but oh my gosh, I mean, I think there were 3 or 4 times yesterday where I actually had to stop and pull over and just cry.
Oh.
I mean, who doesn't know right now on this island a victim that hasn't been victimized? It hits close to home, and there are times where not only in addition to what we're doing, we're getting calls from victims, and they're telling us a story, and so we have to stop and just reflect on what they're saying and just be there, for a positive impact for them too as well. So in addition to all that we're doing, we're listening to victims' cries, and they're just so supportive and just happy because they've either never come out and talked about their story, and for the first time they feel like they're a part of something, and they have a voice now, and so that's very impactful, to where it's bringing tears to my eyes right now, just to to be able to have that outreach, so it's important. And we do it because it's necessary. We do it. I have a daughter, and I've always been very overprotective over her, and she's 18 now, and well, wait a minute, she's 19 now. I said, sweetheart, we do this to keep you safe, but even at that age, I'm still going, make sure you do this, make sure you don't do that, and it's just and it's nice when she responds back, okay, Mom, I understand, and I tell her the stories, and she gets shocked because, I do my best. I think we all do our best, and we want to make sure our kids are safe, and we need to take back our streets. And there's just too much crime, and we need to resolve this, and we need to watch out for each other. It really takes a village. At this moment in time, it does, and I think it's always been there years ago, and we need to bring it back. We need to really instill that.
What I've said, make Guam Guam again. It's 7:58. Yeah. Karina, good luck to you, and we'll get caught up in the next couple of days and figure out what the next steps are going to be.
Thank you.
Call me if you need me. Radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. That's Karina Farron and the group that she is with that is asking you to get out there at 5 o'clock. Find a Sharpie somewhere. Write the words "enough" on your hand and hold it out there for the world to see for sure. But for our representatives to see as well, to let them know, to get the signal that we've had it. And they're going to need to make changes. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Fox News Live is coming up next. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a look at the news from the Guam Daily Post. Michael Knight and Blake Watson and I are going to pretend to talk about sports in just a little bit, and I want you to be a part of that conversation as it happens because it's always fun, it's always enlightening. And I've got a price from eBay on what a decent condition Lee Majors' $6 Million Man toy is going to be going for, and it will make you weep. Here it comes, the news.
They're calling it ridiculous. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Lawyers for Empire star Jussie Smollett reacting after two brothers who say they helped stage an attack sued Smollett.
They could have remained silent, but instead they told the truth to the police, and with their right hand in the air, they told the truth to the grand jury.
Asendaro Brothers attorney Gloria Schmidt, Smollett's attorneys Mark Garagos and Tina Glandon say they initially thought the lawsuit was a parody. They say they view it as comical and lawyer-driven nonsense. The Mueller investigation has had an adverse effect on our democracy. That from White House senior advisor and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
Yeah, the media spends so much time focusing on it, and quite frankly, the whole thing's just a big distraction for the country.
Kushner with a comment at a Time magazine forum. President Trump's 2016 opponent Hillary Clinton at the same event said she thinks there's enough there that any other person who had engaged in those acts would certainly have been indicted. But the Justice Department rule is that you cannot indict a sitting president. The Supreme Court appears ready to uphold the Trump administration's plan to ask about citizenship on the 2020 census. 3 lower courts have so far blocked the plan to ask every resident about citizenship. Wall Street in the green with the S&P surpassing the peak it set last September.
Tech-heavy NASDAQ and the S&P 500 both finishing in record territory, all-time highs. The Dow up 145 points, the S&P 500 up 25, the NASDAQ up 105. The story behind the moves, better earnings. Twitter shares up 15.5% after reporting earnings that handily beat expectations. The company crediting its efforts to weed out spam and target ads. The number of monthly active users also strong, up 9 million to 330 million.
Jerry Willis with the Fox Business Network on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. This is Fox News.
Enough is enough. Join us, concerned citizens and survivors of sexual assault on our island will be gathering at intersections and roadsides all over Guam for the Enough Walkout campaign. Wednesday, April 24th at 5 p.m. we will gather, and then at 5:05 for 15 minutes, silently raise our hands with the word enough written on them, standing together. This is a community response to rampant sexual assaults on Guam, especially affecting our children, and to show solidarity in speaking against sexual assault and urging government leadership to proactively address this issue. On Facebook, please see the Monique Baza's story page or the Guam Family Justice Center Alliance for details. Enough is enough.
ISIS claiming responsibility for the Easter Sunday bomb attacks in Sri Lanka.
In a video message released today on their official news agency, the 7 attackers are shown standing in front of an ISIS flag, pledging allegiance to the ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Today in Sri Lanka, mass funerals began as the country observed a day of mourning. The country is under a state of emergency, and the military is operating under enhanced wartime powers. Police have so far arrested at least 40 people in connection to the bombing, but the Prime Minister says there are still militants and bombs on the loose.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. London police asking for images taken during the attack. They're aiding in the investigation. A new study says Americans are becoming more inactive, spending about a third of their waking hours sitting, and the study says computer use is partly to blame. Security experts advising people to be a little bit more creative with their computer passwords.
The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre analyzing public databases of breached accounts, finding millions of folks are using easy-to-guess passwords on sensitive accounts. Topping the list, 123456, with over 23 million using it as a password. Making the top 10, the word password, with over 3 million accounts using it. Ashley, the most commonly used name to log in. The most common musical act? Rock band, Blink-182. Reps for the cyber study say nobody should protect sensitive data with something that can be guessed. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Workers in Paris looking to protect the Notre Dame Cathedral, heavily damaged by fire last week. Professional mountain climbers have placed waterproof tarps over the exposed exterior to prevent further damage from expected storms. So far, investigators think the devastating fire was an accident, possibly linked to the cathedral's renovation work. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Attention homeowners, if you don't have a solar energy system on your roof from Micronesia Renewable Energy, now is the time to get one. MRE Solar Energy Systems now come with battery storage for zero money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A man who killed his former girlfriend in 1988 has been paroled after spending over 30 years in prison. Francis Anthony Castro Cruz was released from the custody of the Department of Corrections following a parole board hearing last week. Back in July 1988, Cruz spotted his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Lydia Marie Camacho Uggan, on a motorcycle with another man. He chased them down, hit them with his car. While Uggan was pinned underneath, Cruz crawled under the vehicle and shot and killed her. He was wounded. He also wounded the man who was with her. Cruz was sentenced to life in prison after being found guilty, however, with the possibility of parole. The victim's family pleaded against his release last week from prison, but the board granted Cruz's request for parole and he was freed. Recently, the parole board released a convicted child sex predator who subsequently was arrested and charged earlier this month on allegations of kidnapping and raping a 10-year-old girl on her way to school. Yesterday, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero appointed retired U.S. Navy veteran Franklin Leon Guerrero to replace parole board chairwoman Michelle Hope Tightno. Dr. Vince Akimoto says he believes Captain Stephen Ignacio is both physically and mentally qualified to serve as Guam's police chief. He told the Guam Daily Post, "Absolutely, I believe he is fit for duty." The doctor's evaluation of Ignacio revealed normal mental status and hemodynamic stability, which refers to the flow of blood within the body. Akimoto, who is a family physician, conducted a follow-up examination of Captain Ignacio on March 29th after clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthouser conducted a fitness for duty evaluation on Captain Ignacio on March 11th. Lighthouser concluded that Ignacio is not fit from a mental health perspective for consideration for the position of Guam Chief of Police. Most of the rest of her letter, however, was redacted by the legislature's Public Safety Committee. Dr. Akimoto declined to discuss his own evaluation of Captain Ignacio, citing patient confidentiality, but he said that it would be very helpful for the public to see the redacted portions of Dr. Lighthizer report. Lighthizer told the Guam Daily Post that her evaluation of Ignacio, like any other medical evaluation, was conducted at one point in time. When asked if she stands by the conclusions that she reached when she evaluated Captain Ignacio, she said, yes, absolutely, but she emphasized that her evaluation made recommendations which, if followed, could have remedied her findings. We'll have more news after this.
Do you know someone who has difficulty following conversation in noisy places or turns up the TV a little too loud? These may be signs of a hearing loss. Ross Hearing Aids specializes in hearing evaluations, custom-fit hearing aids using the latest in wireless digital technology, and custom-fit hearing protectors. Call Ross Hearing Aids today to schedule a complimentary hearing consultation. 637-HEAR, 637-HEAR. Ross Hearing Aids, located across Shirley's in Harmon.
The GCC Votech Class of 79 is back. Join them on April 27th at the Onward Beach Hotel for a night of dinner, dancing, skits, and reminiscing. It's been 40 years since graduation, so take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime chance to relive the memories. There's also a memorial mass on Friday, the 26th, at the Santa Teresita Church. Be there at 5:30 for candle placement in honor of classmates who've gone before. Tickets for the reunion on the 27th are on sale for $40 a person. For details, find Connie Kittigwa St. Nicholas at 488-6108 or Kathy Diaz, 777-3243. Viva 79ers!
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. In Superior Court yesterday, the defense rested its case on day 6 of the trial of Pastor Renato Capili-Bossi, accused of inappropriately touching a 14-year-old girl on repeated occasions and sending her inappropriate emails and making inappropriate phone calls to her. Bossi is the former pastor of the Living Lighthouse Baptist Church in Barrigada. Prior to resting his case yesterday, defense attorney Stephen Hattori called Bossi's wife and daughter back to the stand again to counter prosecution testimony on Tuesday. The wife and daughter both testified that the teenage girl was known to lie and make up stories. On Tuesday, however, prosecution witness Delora Puckett, the wife of another pastor, said that the teen is a delightful young woman who always tells the truth. Bossi has denied the allegations that he had ever inappropriately touched the girl. Closing arguments expected today. Guam lawmakers are in session this week. Yesterday, senators moving 15 nominations to various GovGuam boards and leadership positions into the voting file without any debate. Among the nominations that advanced were Ike Pareto, nominated to lead the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency, and Samantha Brennan to serve as the director of the Department of Corrections. Captain Stephen Ignacio's nomination to become chief of police was not brought to the floor yesterday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
Boy, this is beginning to get real familiar here. Basically the same forecast day after day after day, and it's all about Guam being hot, mostly sunny, with a slight chance of light showers. Easterly winds to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit overnight. Highs 89 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 76 degrees. Watching the sunset tonight, about 6:35. Get snuggly up for that. Sunrise is coming a lot earlier these days. 6:03 this morning, probably 6:02 tomorrow morning. 8:12 is the studio time, but before we do anything else, we'll jump into the weather whisperer mode and see if Michael Knight can give us some sacred wisdom and knowledge on what he is seeing on today's radar image.
Yeah, still got those isolated showers creeping in from the east, but it looks like they're losing some of their punch, so it may not rain after all. And that's bad news. We really need the rain. Things are really getting parched out there. Fire danger is way up there. Be careful if you're out there doing any burning stuff. In fact, just don't. Leave it to the professionals. Checking satellite.
Burn your stuff inside the house.
That would be nice.
So if you got like trash you want to burn, yard debris, things like that, we don't want it, wafting up into the atmosphere and then landing someplace and, putting Dededo on fire or something like that. They just go ahead and bring it inside the house and light a match in the living room.
Yeah.
Could work.
That's okay. Just remember that Ray Gibson gave you that advice.
Say, kids, don't try this at home. Do it at your friend's house. All right, 8:13. Let's take a look at the satellite imagery and see if there's anything in the Pacific that has any relevance or bearing on weather conditions on Guam.
Yeah, satellite showing just about what we saw on radar. Really nothing much in our area. Got some blobbage down to the southeast. It's not going anywhere. Actually, it might get pulled up to the northeast and go completely away. So just going to look at these dry conditions for at least the next 5 to 7 days. I think today we'll get the sunny day that we missed yesterday because of the conditions that kind of set in on us. And so expect it to be hot out there. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Gotcha. And that's all you need to know for right now. 8:14 in the morning, and we got sports with Blake coming up on the other side of these.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
8:14 in the morning, and portions of the program brought to you by all of my pals over at American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. Guys over at Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for your specialty care needs. I need some back rub right now while I'm thinking about it. And King's in the Crazy 19 menu is back. As in 2019, your favorite breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner items served all day, every day. King's Restaurant, always open, always local.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
There you are interrupting me. I'm in search of vital imagery here on the internet that I wanted to share with everybody, and you are interrupting me again. You're busting my flow here, buddy. I'm my producer. Okay, portions of the program also brought to you by Cars Plus. They've got Jeeps up there, and I think they're going to be selling some Gladiators. And if you don't know what that is, do a Google for that. Also brought to you by Take Care Security Title. And the guys know everything about secure. Of course they do, but about title searches and making sure that the guy that told you that he's selling you property actually has clear title to the property that he's trying to sell. We don't like blemishes on it, and they're very, very good at finding those blemishes at Security Title.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
So I made a big deal about whose celebrity birthday was it? The celebrity birthday that is the incredible Lee Majors. $6 Million Man turns 80 years old yesterday. And I don't think you're old enough to remember the great Kenner Lee Majors' $6 Million Man doll.
I am.
Action figure.
Because my uncle, my dad's only and youngest brother, he was probably born like between 70 and 75, somewhere around there. So by the time I came, the mid to late 80s, a lot of his, he had just graduated high school and moved home. Then graduated in like 89. And so a lot of his, that's actually how I got into Star Wars too. He had the Millennium Falcon in his closet, still in his room at my grandma's house. He had the actual G.I. Joe, the original, the big ones, and Steve Austin was in that. He was wearing his jumpsuit, I think.
Yeah,
the jumpsuit,
red jumps. Yeah,
and you could look through the little eye.
See?
You can look through the eye.
Great memories and wonderful toys. I worry about, because every once in a while I'll walk the toy aisle over at Kmart and places like that, and I just, I'm going, okay, what's so fun about these toys that the kids have got to play with these days? It's certainly not as much fun as like the Evel Knievel, the
stunt
flexible
cycle.
Yeah, the stunt cycle. You wind the thing up, and then you press the button, and he just goes, he'll
jumps over the garage,
helter skelter all over the living room. Those are, and that was the fun part, is taking him up to the roof.
Right.
Thank God my mother's not alive to hear this. Happy birthday, by the way, Rosebud. Miss you. So you take the kids go up on the roof and do the thing with the Evel Knievel, and boom,
just takes off.
Yeah, God, those were times. Anyway, so everybody had a crush on her in the 1970s, and that's why I've got Valerie Bertinelli. She's got a birthday today. Valerie Bertinelli is 59 years old. That is not a current picture of Valerie Bertinelli, and I'm not putting up current pictures of Valerie Bertinelli. This is the way I want to see her.
Actually, she don't look too bad, and right now she's doing a cooking show on the Food Network.
Yep.
And man, she knows how to cook. And
I've seen pictures of fat Valerie Bertinelli, which so I know she knows how to cook and eat, and I don't care about those. This one will take you back to about 77, 78 when she was like 20, right? So and that's the Valerie Bertinelli that I have in my head.
Yeah, I think she was like one of the kids' cake shows. They make Cupcake Wars or something, and I think her cooking show, her son is on there a lot. They cook together.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, whatever. I don't watch that channel. Is it Game of Thrones or whatever happens to be on Netflix? That's what I'm watching. If it's on network television, the only way that I think I can get to programs like that now is by going on YouTube TV. But number one, YouTube TV is not available here, so you'd have to VPN into a country where they do have it, and then you have to pay, which is the suck, because the pay is like $50. And it brings you programs, it brings you television networks just like you see on a regular cable system.
Why don't we have YouTube? Why can't we get YouTube TV? Do we know? Why?
Because we're redheaded stepchildren out here, and we're in the fringes.
It's 2019. That's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me anymore.
It probably has to do with the availability of the licensing outside the contiguous United States of America. They're saying, okay, well, Guam, technically Asia, geographically, America in Asia, and we don't have the rights to these television shows in those parts of the world. If you want the rights to those TV shows, you got to argue with somebody in Japan. You got to argue with somebody in Hong Kong.
I ran into that problem recently where and I know nobody cares, so it doesn't really matter.
What do you mean nobody cares?
Well, because it's hockey. I'm talking hockey.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Nobody cares.
So, but I didn't get to watch a single game of the Dallas Stars Nashville Predators because they're on NBC. I guess they've got to deal with NBC, and so CNBC, the CNBC feed we get is Squawk Box Asia and tearing down the whatever. I don't know, there's different show names, but that's what I had to watch instead of the Stars playoff game. It's so strange that they're running it on political commentary stations, but I had that same issue, I guess, because of region thing. Right?
Yeah, it probably has everything to do with that. So, like I said, VPN, you use it, and if you don't have a VPN, as Blake just said, it's 2019. Get a VPN, and if for no other reason, some people say, there's two reasons why you get a VPN. One of them is if you don't want anybody seeing where you have been, and it makes it harder to see the trails of your searches and your website visits on the internet, because it's basically sending a message to a closed server somewhere that nobody's, and they don't care what you're looking at. They don't judge. They don't judge, but we will. And anyway, so you get the VPN for that, but it's also cool to get a VPN to convince somebody like YouTube or Spotify or even Netflix that you are not watching in some place where they've geo-fenced you. You are watching someplace inside, say, the United States.
That's how, like, I guess people who really travel and expats who live in other countries. That's how they get their Netflix.
Their Netflix, right. Because and there's different Netflix.
Right.
When I was visiting my friend in Hong Kong, I was watching Netflix at his place, and I'm going, oh, this is great. They got Shaun of the Dead on Netflix here. So I added it to my my download list, and it downloaded. But when I got out of Hong Kong, it wouldn't play because it saw that I was not in Hong Kong anymore, and I was someplace for which they had not licensed.
That's happened sometimes when I'll Google, like, oh, I just thought of this movie I've never seen. I wonder if it's streaming on Netflix, and it'll be like streaming on Netflix, and then you got to read the fine print. Netflix UK.
Yeah.
You're like, not my Netflix.
Sucks. Time for sports with Blake. World Series of Volleyball?
Is that what's...
That's what it says. Is the email GCC comes back in match to win the World Series of Volleyball.
What was it? Just UOG and GCC in the World Series of Volleyball?
Kind of looks like that.
I think so. It was just two teams. That's how I gathered that first sentence, that first paragraph of that article. Yeah. Either way, the tradesmen, if they're still called that.
Tridents. No, wait. Tridents are the University
GCC. Are the GCC still the tradesmen?
Well, they got to be the tradesmen, yeah.
Yeah. They dominated the best of 7 series. They won 4 matches to UOG's 1 win. Tridents, they started the match looking good. They took the first 2 sets pretty handily. 25-22, they had to battle it out, but 25-18. And then GCC won the 3rd set, and that gave them enough momentum, as in sports. We ride it all the way to victory, 25-18 to even the match, and then they won the 5th and deciding set. because fifth and deciding set goes to 15 points. They won 15-11 to win the match and the World Series of volleyball.
So Doug Palmer is the athletic director of the Triton Athletics at the University of Guam. He would be the guy that we call and say, so who else did you play? Who else was participating in the World Series
of volleyball?
Volleyball. Did we invite the Saipanese? Do we have anybody representing the? Because they got schools up in Saipan, right?
CNMI,
yeah.
Samoa. I don't see any. I don't know. It's interesting. Although I do see some national team players on this Team GCC, I think.
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out more details on this a little bit later on. There was
Maybe
GML
not.
last night, right?
There really was, and it was quite a game too. The Expos and Junior Nationals got together at Paseo. Expos went up on them 7-1 going into the bottom of the fourth,
right?
And then the Junior Nationals dropped 8 runs on them in that bottom of that inning, so it was 8-7 at that point. But the Expos came on back, and after a couple more innings of back and forth, the Expos win 13-10. They're now 4-1 on the season.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of action in this game.
So whose streak got broken?
Nobody's. Nope. Expos kept winning, and the Junior Nationals keep losing. Standings right now: Expos 4-1, Redhawks 3-1, as well as the Royals. Rays and Blue Jays are 2-2. Now Junior Nationals now 2-3. Rangers 1-3, and the Brooks are 0-4, looking to do a little something and get that first.
Yeah, what
win.
is it? Was the next time the Rooks got a chance to play? I mean, I think they tried everything except the medicine man to come out there and do some kind of rain dance for scores.
Yeah, I'm thinking they'll play on Sunday, but I'm not sure. I don't have that from Mark here, but I do know our next game here is 7 p.m. Paseo on Friday. Rangers taking on the Royals.
Gotcha. All right, Blake, got anything else that's fun?
That's fun. I do.
I mean, you got sporty stuff?
I saved this for y'all. Yeah, just for y'all. So this is very rare, and it has never been seen. It is from the private collection of the George Herman Ruth the Babe estate.
Okay.
I'm going to say that. So coming up for auction right now, a rare game-worn Yankees road jersey used by New York legend Babe Ruth. It's expected to sell at an auction this summer. It's going to go up for sale. His grandson's actually putting it up for sale. The first time, like I said, it's left the family collection. Expecting to get $4.5 million. This jersey dates back to the 20s. Only a few authentic professional model Babe Ruth jerseys are known to exist. I think 6 on the entire planet of quality are known to exist exclusively. And then there's one within the Baseball Hall of Fame. The most recent Babe Ruth jersey to hit the marketplace was a couple years ago, sold for more than $4 million. But the reason that this one is special, it's a gray flannel jersey.
Yeah.
It's one of the only ones that instead of, because I guess back in the day, the road jerseys, no matter where you were, Detroit, Boston, they only said the city name. Well, this is a road jersey that clearly says Yankees. It's got still some dirt on it, and it's got his name stitched in the collar. Ruth. There's a picture.
Now, how much are they talking about doing this for?
About $4.5 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
4.5 mil.
but I mean, if you're fans of Babe Ruth, fans of baseball.
Oh yeah.
And
And
somebody out there's got a baseball museum or somebody's Hall of Fame, a personal Hall of Fame, and they'll find the money. Look, if we can spend $1 billion to rebuild the Notre Dame, then we can find $4 million.
Selma Hayek's husband, right?
In fact, here, let's do this. Let's do this. Is a brilliant idea. Is it $4 million to start, or is that the kind of a auction price?
Well, actually, it's expected to start around 4 to 4.5, but people are expecting it could go as high as $5 million.
Okay, so we don't have $5 million between us.
No,
right? But it seems to me there ought to be somebody around here got all kinds of dough and buy it. And we're going to make it, send it to the Guam Museum. Right? What a great attraction that would be.
Oh, yeah.
For this jersey. And people are going to say, well, what's the connection between Babe Ruth and baseball and Guam? And the answer is, who cares?
But there actually is.
We've got it.
There is.
This will be, we'll say that this is now, what we want to create a connection of some kind of we're just lying. Tell everybody that Babe Ruth came in on the Clipper ships.
So, Babe, and what I was going to say is there is a little bit of a draw, and I'm just going to make this work. So what happened is that the Daily Mail. So not only is this jersey up for sale, Also, a pair of his spikes, a pair of leather cleats, an autographed picture from Lou Gehrig that says, babe, I hope I can always prove worthy of your friendship, your friend Lou Gehrig. And then when him and Lou Gehrig went over to Japan to play in the All-Star game, the Japanese gifted him like a vase, and it said to Babe Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Lou Gehrig actually captained two separate All-Star teams, and they played each other as an exhibition in Japan. So I'm thinking, while the tourists are at Guam Museum,
stop. He had to come by here.
And so while they're while tourists are at the Guam Museum, they may want to be like, oh yeah, I'm sure they know who Babe Ruth is, because that's the thing. Do you surely? And I know times are different. People may have never heard of Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man. Maybe they never heard of Evel Knievel or Speed Racer or any of these other names that we've dropped, John Wayne. But surely everybody knows Babe Ruth. You don't get too far in this life as a young kid without coming across the name Babe Ruth, right?
Right. So I'm just saying, buy the thing, find somebody. We'll throw some money together. We'll buy the thing. We'll stick it up at the Guam Museum, and we'll have pictures of some great baseball from on Guam back in the early part of the last century, and right up to our current Babe Ruth League.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Babe Ruth.
And people would pay good money just to walk in and see the base, walk in and see that jersey.
From 1934.
We'd be able to make our money back, I guarantee it. It's 8:30 in the morning, and that's all the time that we've got to pretend to talk about sports with Blake Watson. He's going to go and finish the morning show over on Star 101 and cook up some more great ideas and talking points for tomorrow. By the way, for those of you, and I mentioned this earlier, but I always try to get mileage out of my bits and routines. Steve Austin, $6 Million Man in $1973, adjusted for inflation, he would be the $34 million man.
That's it? I figured it would be much more than that.
See, that's because we're jaded. We just throw around millions in dollars and stuff like that. $4 million for a jersey.
And with these athletes, I figured it'd be like $60 million man by now.
No, maybe in another couple of years, depending on which way the dollar is going. It's 8:30 in the morning. That's Blake Watson headlines with Kevin Kerrigan next.
The University of Guam presents Tritons Out Loud. Celebrate a day of diversity on Friday, April 26th at the University of Guam Calvo Fieldhouse from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Come out and experience the opening parade, food trucks, fashion and entertainment, and more.
Let's have some fun.
This event is open and free to the public. Join the first ever Diversity Day, where we celebrate unity, pride, sexuality, individuality, and diversity of the Triton and Island community. Tritons Out Loud.
So there's a question about the picture that we showed earlier, Michelle Titano and Paul Muffness in a festive gathering, and people wondering what that was all about. There is an actual video of the thing that exists. It's kind of striking because just before there's a montage of pictures and things like that just before they get to the part where they're actually singing on the video, and the crazy thing is there's this picture of a little girl next to a Bible quote, "The king will answer them. Most certainly, I tell you, because you did it for one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you did it to me." Matthew 25:40. And so it goes from that image here. Let me put this up on the screen, and it goes from there into the singing of Christmas songs at this get together that they had. Pressing the play button, and it doesn't seem to be want to play. There. Something happened. Cash. And I have volume. Can you hear it? On your side? ATP 2018 video for Guahan Aftercare. Don't know exactly what that outfit is all about, but as I said, an interesting video, and that led to a screenshot. We are showing the screenshot, and others are as well. And maybe that is one of the backups that they used over at Adeloop to see if they could move Michelle out of the parole board and replace her with somebody else. Been an interesting last couple of days, an interesting afternoon at 5 o'clock, virtually island-wide. Doors of buildings and offices and even clubs are going to be opening up, and people are going to be rushing outside to the nearest street with the word enough written on their palms and showing that to the world as a sign that we've kind of had enough around here. It's 8:33 in the morning and time for headlines. Can never get enough of that. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the rules and regulations to govern the games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival have finally been recast into a measure that lawmakers can act on. Senator Jose Pito Terlaje introduced Bill number 101 yesterday that has the rules and regs in it. Terlaje's committee oversees the Mayor's Council of Guam, which is waiting for approval of the bill so that the council can issue a request for proposals from vendors willing to provide the casino-style card games and other games of chance that are slated to return to the carnival this year after a 2-year absence. A hearing on Bill 101 is set for next Monday. However, Senator Terlaje is expected to try and get the hearing requirement waived and have the bill placed on the session agenda this week. Mayor's Council President Angel Sablan says it's going to be a race against the clock. According to the revised rules and regs, any vendor bidding for the right to operate one of the 2 authorized House of Cards must construct a fully enclosed structure. We're concerned that they may not have enough time to build such a thing, said Sablan. The 75th Liberation Carnival is set to begin on June 5th. It's scheduled to last 60 days and run through August 3rd. The U.S. Immigration Service has issued notice advising that using marijuana or working in the marijuana industry on Guam or any other jurisdiction where it's now legal under local law could prevent an immigrant from establishing the good moral character needed to gain citizenship in the U.S. The Immigration Service sent out that notice last Friday. It states that the violation of federal controlled substance law, including for marijuana, remains a conditional bar to establishing good moral character. Good moral character is a requirement for naturalization. In general, according to the release, applicants must show that they have been and continue to be in good moral standing during the period prior to filing and up to when they take the oath of allegiance to the United States. Guam public health officials urging residents to ensure that they are vaccinated against measles, especially if they're planning to travel off-island. Public Health Immunization Administrator Annette Uggan warning that tourists and other travelers coming from places that have had measles outbreaks can, even without knowing it, spread the measles. Uggan said public health officials are monitoring a number of measles outbreaks in different parts of the world, including in New York City and Washington State, the Philippines, China, and Australia. She advises island residents who plan summer travel off-island to get vaccinated before they leave. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think that's what I'm going to do. It's 8:36, and that is iConnect time. Call them. Their number is 888-8888, and they really do want to get you inside their business and their doors. Great prices and great plans. Mobile, internet, even push-to-talk at iConnect.
You're applying for a new job. You've heard they pay pretty well, and the bosses are cool, and you're breezing through your interview. Then they ask that question. Oh, no, not that one. I'm Jerry Robertson at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show. We'll tell you what that one is and then how to answer it.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Studio time, 8:36, and now is the traffic out there. You know, I haven't had a chance to take a look at the traffic gizmo, but my guess is that no, it's not. Ooh, it's still ugly. On Route 8, northbound and southbound, they're trying to put together an intersection over in front of where Carbolito Elementary is, on the way to Yellow Store, if you know where I'm talking about. And so they're shutting down. Yesterday, they shut down one of the southbound lanes, and it looks like they might be doing the same thing with northbound. From about where ACC Air, Kimmy's Place, and the subway station, and then north. Expect some delays if you're up and down on Route 8 this morning. 10 and 15, yeah, still a little bit ruddy out there. 10 and 4, not looking all that much better. 8, 10, and 16, that one is clear, but like I said, it's clear because everybody is stuck behind the construction over by Carbolito. Nothing major in front of Big Navy Hospital, etc. So it looks like we're doing all right for second string traffic here this morning. 8:37 right now, traffic on the point.
Docomo Pacific Traffic's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk stuff here, 8:38 in the morning, and my name is Ray Gibson. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. Michael Knight will get the phone when you call at 888-8255. Got any interesting videos that you want to share? Christmas parties? What? 988-5874. 988-5874. That's one of the things I've been looking at for the last couple of minutes. But we're gonna take some time here. Spend a little bit of time in the last hour with Karina Farron and with the Guam Justice Alliance and the big deal that they have planned for today. And I know where I'm going to be when it's time to go outside and hold my hand up in front of Marine Corps Drive. Do you know where you're going to be?
Yes, same here. Yeah, not Marine Corps Drive. No.
No.
Where
are you gonna hold your hand up and say enough? Now.
Well, it depends on.
I have a list.
Yeah. Well,
where are you going to be at 5?
Closer to home.
Closer. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go.
Got to pick up the kids. Yeah.
We'll go over the list a little bit later on, and I think there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out. Okay, I want to do this, but I've got car line that I've got to get in, or something's got to do something. But anyway, Vic Camacho in the studio. You might recall the voice. How you been?
I've been great. Thank you, sir.
Well, it's always nice. It's always nice seeing you. It seems to me that you and I have chewed on some great radio airtime talking about a number of really, really cool things. It wasn't that long ago with Eric Tydenko sitting in that chair. We see if we could find some mileage for Make-A-Wish Foundation. I know you're still real strong with that with the idea of Make-A-Wish.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that once you do it, it's part of you for life.
But they snapped you up over at Sanctuary, huh?
Yes, sir.
How'd that go? When'd you get that job?
Well, with the new administration came some positions that opened up in the nonprofit field, and. Right. Therese Arreola, among others, reached out and asked if I'd be interested in moving over to Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. So here I am. Yeah, 2 months into the job.
Did you know you were Camacho?
They do. Yeah, they do. But hey,
still, right?
Yeah. I'm in that. This is my way of public service.
Yeah. And don't need to drag politics into public service.
Not
thankfully, Youth Fest 2019 is going to be coming up. That is a project of Sanctuary. Tell me what is Youth Fest? This is not the first time I've heard of Youth Fest, but it's the first time I've heard about it from you.
Yeah. Well, Youth Fest is a carnival event for kids. It's focused on our target population, which is kids from the ages of 12 to 17. It's primarily an educational outreach event. There are going to be service learning opportunities. So I know service learning is big for those in high school.
Slavery. Because you don't get to graduate unless you have enough of these working credits, and if you don't get working credits unless you do things like this or hang out with Peggy Denny and pick up trash with your hands.
That's right. And I got a junior in high school, and we talked about service learning. I'm like, how many hours you have? And he's like, I don't know. And so a good service learning opportunity is something that you don't realize you're learning something, you're giving service back.
Yeah.
It's something that, hey, I'm going to go hang out with friends and learn something cool, and I get to get out of the house for a little bit. So, that's the opportunity for kids to learn about Sanctuary, about all our partners, what they do, what we do, what services Sanctuary provides, It started almost 50 years ago.
So listen, if you're a kid and somebody's harping on you about service learning, come by. I'll sign anything. I'll sign any paper you want me to sign, and then you just go. You can graduate.
Yeah. So Sanctuary, 50 years ago was just a homeless, a runaway shelter, and over the years it's evolved. 50 years in, we're a very large nonprofit, local nonprofit, and. We have a lot of government contracts. We have some federal grants.
Yeah.
We also have our, so we run our shelters. We have.
Well, you're trying to buy a shelter facility, aren't you?
We are trying to build one, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just put in a grant for a 6,000 square foot shelter to be built in Chalampago, right next to our current location.
I knew the property was available.
There is some Gura property, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, this would fall in line with their mission.
How much dough you need for that? I mean,
it's a couple $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is that on the matching side too, or you think you might be able to get some grants, so you come forward with $2 million and you can turn that into 4?
We don't want to build a facility that big. We want to build something that we're capable of maintaining over the years. It's always great to build something, but if you can't maintain it, we've seen that problem way too much. Yeah.
Aren't they building something similar up in Barrigada Heights near the water towers? I thought there's a property going up there.
I'm not too sure. I think it might be a DYA facility. I'm not too sure.
Okay, well, we'll learn and find out. I've been kind of watching that from the side because we've got a transmitter facility in the back, so it's fairly frequently that I go by there and see where they are in the construction. And I want to say it's like temporary housing or something like that, but maybe foster kids or something along those lines. But it's interesting. And whenever they're finished, they'll have a beautiful view. It'll be absolutely stunning because they're on that side of Barrigada Heights, where if you 2 feet off the ground, and all of a sudden you get these spectacular views of the eastern side of the island. So Youth Fest 2019 going to be coming up this weekend.
Yes, it's Saturday at 10 o'clock at the Chamorro Village Festival Huts. So come on down, bring the entire family. There's going to be food. There's going to be music, dance competitions, voice competitions. We are having an art contest. It's happening in the schools right now. So if you look at our flyer online, sanctuaryguam.com, right there in front of you, Ray, you have a logo that was designed by a local high school kid. And so every year we have an art contest.
Cool.
Whoever, does a logo that gets voted in, they become next year's logo. So that's the winner from 2019.
Yeah. You can see it. It looks like a slingstone in there because this Guam, and we use the slingstone for everything. And then there's a couple of hands in there doing the bones. That's the current way that kids are greeting each other these days. We don't shake hands anymore. We just bones it out. It's actually a lot more sanitary that way. Anyway, so we got the bones it out, and then the words Manhoban Strong. For Youth Fest. And congratulations to Devin Villaluna from Guahan Academy Charter School. This is his artwork and his rendering, and so he gets to be the logo guy for 2019.
And there's another cool thing. We print T-shirts, and free for all the attendees that go out and conduct service learning. They come in, and once they're all finished, they come and they receive a T-shirt, and all the T-shirts are going to have that logo. All of our staff are going to be wearing throughout the year T-shirts with that logo. So it's something that,
keep talking about service learning, so I'm going to feel bad because I was kind of dissing it before.
Well, you and I, we grew
come
up
from a different era, right?
Yeah,
so
we had
volunteered. But we volunteered to volunteer.
Amen.
And not necessarily because somebody was holding graduation over our heads, which is kind of the way that it's been done for about the last 10 years. And sometimes I think that if we just raise kids, they're looking for opportunities in the community to be of service one way or the other. Then they will, and it might not be something like this for an outfit like Sanctuary. When I was 15, 16 years old, my way of giving some kind of service back to the community was working with Uncle Gun and Uncle Joe and backing them up at Mass.
Yeah.
Right. So I was one of the guys that went out there with the basket and got dough, and when we were done with that, help out Polly and get some of the things done in the church that you needed a couple of strong hands to do.
That's right.
That was the way I did it, and I did it for because it was one of the things that I had to do in order to earn other benefits of living at Grandma's house. I.e., you want to go out on Friday night? You got to go. You got to do the thing over at church first.
That's right.
So there's always going to be a little bit of give and take, but it did teach me the value of being able to press my hands to work with no other reward other than somebody saying thank you. So Youth Fest 2019, 10 to 5, Festival Huts over at Chamorro Village. Do I need to bring any money?
No. I mean, you could bring money for some food. We're going to have some food truck vendors there. Aside from that, we have drinks for sale for minimal cost, just to recover our cost. But the intent is to get kids out there to enjoy, a friendly, safe environment, to learn about Sanctuary, to learn about, our crisis hotline. If there's kids out there that are thinking some,
dark thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
Internet.
There are actually people there that, will answer that phone 24 hours a day. It's 475-7100. Give us a call anytime if you just need someone to talk to. We have trained professionals. We have a great team there. Sanctuary does run a a runaway shelter.
Yeah.
We also shelter kids that are referrals from DYA, from CPS. We have a drug and alcohol treatment facility, the only one of its kind.
For youth?
Yes, for youth, for ages 12 to 17. It's unfortunate. We live in a time.
Are you busy?
We have a waiting list, and it points towards the need for us to build that other facility, and that's what we were stressing in our grant. That if we didn't have a waiting list, there's an obvious need, and we've been around for years with this drug and alcohol treatment facility. There's there are kids that have dependency issues, so we have our clinical team that work with them. It's a 6 to 9 month program, and that's for starters. For the kids that we do also have outpatient services for those who might just have some experimentation issues that they're pressured into drinking or trying drugs, but we have a very good team there that works with these kids, and
When we were younger, when I was younger, in high school age, middle school age, the big problem on Guam was heroin. And fast forward to 2019, I think it's fair to say the big problem on Guam that I'm aware of for adults is crystal methamphetamine, ice. Is that also a big problem for the kids? Are you getting a lot of kids coming in that have already got themselves hooked on ice?
The same problems that you have with adults are the same problems you have with kids that are addicted to substances. Yes.
The recovery rate on ice is disappointing at best. I mean, is there something about the age of some of these kids that might make it easier for them to get out from under it?
I'm not trained in that field, but I do understand that the longer that you've had usage, the harder it is to come back from that. Yeah. So fortunately, we're able to address this issue with these kids at a young age when it's just starting, when the substance abuse is just starting, and put them on the right track. So after they graduate from our program, it's not like, hey, it's May, we're going to graduate all of you. We're going to graduate you when you're ready.
Yeah.
And when your family is ready, the entire
systems of care.
Yes. So the focus for us is reunification of the family. We want to see the families together. We want to see them healthy, and we're not going to put a kid back in a situation that's going to lead straight back into that same cycle. So we work with the families. We work with the kids. After they graduate from our program, they actually stick around. And they go through after outpatient care services. Yeah.
Well, because there's more that needs to be done.
Exactly.
We've got a kid coming in and he's got a problem with ice, or maybe just he just started drinking early and just couldn't figure out how to put the bottle down. You restore the kid, and then we say, okay, what did you miss while you were sick? And maybe it's going to be school. So you need to figure out in the next iteration of the kid's recovery what the next step is going to be. All right. Well, we got you. You're free of the addiction, and now. You should have graduated from high school last year.
Yeah.
How do we close that gap?
Yeah, well, what we do, we work with the school system. We have the kids have to go to school. If they're able to go to school, they're not expelled. They go to school, even if it comes down to we're going to send you to the alternative school.
Sure.
We are responsible for them. They're basically, when they're at our shelter, they're under our care. So they learn life skills. The kids learn how to do their laundry, help clean around, share duties. They have to go to school. They have to wake up on time. They have, so there's so many rules.
It's not vacation.
It is not, but it's also not. It's also not incarceration either. And that's.
I'm thinking maybe I just go back home. It might be stricter at Sanctuary than it is from the atmosphere that I've run away from.
It could be because we don't allow the kids to There's a level of respect everywhere, and we're trying to get kids to realize that, hey, the path that you're going down isn't necessarily the right path. We're trying to help you with life and teach you how to be a responsible adult. And sometimes it's not that the parents don't care. There are parents who care that just need help, and we understand that and we appreciate that. And that's why we get these families that get involved and they say, how do I help? We offer services for the family. We offer classes on how can families communicate better. We have a 10-week program that families sign up. We feed them. We give them incentives like, hey, come to our class and have dinner. We're going to sit down and eat dinner together, and then we're going to talk, and we're going to learn how to communicate. Because we realize that, yes, we can fix a kid, but if that kid goes back to a situation that that is just unhealthy. You know, we're going to see you in 6 months.
Yeah,
you know,
you're never going to. You'll never repair what needs to be broken. Something at the root cause of the problems that we're seeing with our kids, and unfortunately, we're seeing all kinds of problems with our kids. A couple of viral videos of note these days. There's the everybody being an idiot at Matapang Beach, which ended up with a woman getting chased by a bunch of youth that otherwise probably would not have gotten involved with each other had there not been cameras out, had there not been some loose lips on both sides that were floating around. So we've got, and the scary thing about that was there were adults in that video as well who should have stepped in and turned the thing off one way or the other.
Absolutely.
But they failed to do that, and now we've got these kids who may unfortunately be exposed to the criminal justice system for based on the assaults of that day. And another video that has gone out, strikingly attractive young lady. And she looks like she's in the grips of either some kind of weird drug high or she's possessed by the devil. I'm sure you've seen the video.
Not that one, no.
And she crosses her eyes and she starts speaking in tongues. And I watched the video, and after you get over the initial shock of it, you go, I hope she is getting help. What are you doing about mental health with kids these days?
Well, with us, with Sanctuary, we have our clinical team, and our their focus is the drug and alcohol residential treatment facility. But there are also the case managers. So our kids that come to our facility, they're either self-referrals, families that just there's something going on. The kids can't get along with the parents, vice versa, and so Sanctuary becomes that temporary.
That's why it's called Sanctuary.
Yeah, it's a safe place for the kids to just come and stay. So we have temporary timeout where kids can just come for the weekend, to say, hey, there's something going on at home. I need to get away from this. I don't want it to escalate. And, sometimes that's what you need, and growing up for you and I, sleeping over at a cousin's house, it was that, going away and seeing how things are differently, coming home and saying,
I got it pretty good here.
I got it pretty good. Yeah. Or at the same time, oh my gosh, Auntie makes me work a lot, but so you do learn things sometimes when you just, take a break. So we have kids, that are referrals from CPS. We have kids that are referrals from DYA. And these are, the kids that don't belong in the correctional facility side of the house. They belong...
And in many cases, we don't want them getting involved in the criminal justice system. You're little kids.
Yeah, they are kids, exactly. And that's what we got to remember. And I applaud the current leadership at DYA for realizing that there are kids that don't belong there. And so, but, they also need to learn... that the life that they're heading towards is not the proper life. So we are here to, what we do about, drug and alcohol. Yes, if there is an issue with kids that are abusing substances, we do have a program. Our program is limited because it's a residential treatment facility. We are limited to the kids, the residents at 8 kids. And so we have a shelter with 8 kids. We have a waiting list. Of kids to get in there. We also have our aftercare program, and that ranges from any number of kids that receive aftercare services, outpatient type services. In our other shelter, our co-ed shelter, we do have the support of the clinical team. If there's any issues, they're there to provide guidance for our case managers. We have our crisis manager who's there to provide guidance for our case managers, for our resident assistants. We also do have a young adult transition. It's called the Transitional Living Program, and it's an 18-month program to help homeless young adults, including mothers with children, to get back on their feet. So we provide them a safe place to stay. We provide them transportation.
Point out the resources. Yes. This is where you go for this, and this is where you get the snaps, and this is where you go do that.
And we set those appointments up. We take them to those appointments. So there's a lot of work that goes on at Sanctuary, a lot more than I think anybody, myself included,
I bet it was an eye-opener.
So I walked in there, on day one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we do all this 24 hours a day? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to every once in a while break out of the mold and have fun. When and another one of these, when we were kid stories, there used to be in April a big youth get-together. It was a Paseo, and the kids from every school on Guam would go over to the Paseo, and there were games and there were prizes. Is this the 2019 version of that?
April is Youth Month, and so April
There was a Youth Day
It's
when I was
also
a kid.
it's also a crazy month in terms of everything. There's always something going on every
Mamma Mia
weekend.
this weekend.
There's it's a very busy month, but we're also committed to April as Youth Month. We want to bring this event to the public because we realize. As we keep talking about the youth and supporting the youth, we got to provide the opportunities, not just talk about it. We got to provide it. So here's an event that's free for kids to come out and learn and have fun and just get together and share. And we are all about serving the youth. Our mission is very simple: helping youth and families help themselves. And everything that we do is towards that mission.
A carnival outreach event for Guam's youth, again, 10 until 5 at the Chamorro Village Youth Fest 2019. If you want information, there's an actual website that you can go to, sanctuary.com.
SanctuaryGuam.com.
SanctuaryGuam.com, the World Wide Web, simple as that. And is it too late for businesses and folks that are interested in helping kids to get involved? You think you might have space over among all of the festival huts to bring in another group?
Yeah, well, we probably don't. We wouldn't have any time to allow a vendor to come in.
For the next one, maybe. But is there another fundraising opportunity? Is there another event that the Sanctuary has set
later
up?
on in the year, we have Too Cool to Do Drugs conference.
Okay.
And it's obviously it's in its name. It explains what it does. Talking
Not
to
a whole lot
kids.
left up to the imagination for that one.
Yeah. And so that's an event coming up in November, I believe. And we also have our annual 5K, which is happening sometime in February.
Right.
And we're
Speaking of
here.
racing, did you do anything in the marathon? Did you run any of those races?
No. The wife and I are happy with our 3 to 4 to 5 mile runs when we're crazy, but we're just enjoying running together
Once upon a time, I mean, the Vic Camacho I used to run around with would look at travel opportunities and go, okay, there's a half marathon there, so if I can move my trip this way, I can be there for the weekend, hit my conference on Monday, and run the marathon, half marathon.
I've done that. Yeah, I did that 6 times, and it was great. It was great. So
just different now.
Destination marathons are always an option for the future.
All right. Well, we'll talk about the Yokohama. I think in November of this year.
Yes.
Worth thinking about if you want to try some cold running. Anyway, listen, always great to see you. And again, if you've got young people that you want to get involved, Saturday the 27th, 10 until 5 at Chamorro Village. 9 o'clock in the morning. We're close enough to it now to tell you that Fox News Live is coming up next. No more Kevin Kerrigan for the day unless something big breaks. And if it does, you'll find out about it at the Guam Daily Post website.
They didn't get what they asked for. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Trump administration fails to hand over several years of the president's tax returns.
The House Ways and Means Committee wanted 6 years worth of President Trump's personal and business tax returns by 5 p.m. That deadline was missed. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says the request from Democratic Chairman Richard Neal raises serious constitutional concerns. Mnuchin says the Treasury Department is still waiting on the Justice Department to offer a report on the legality of the tax request. That answer is expected by May 6th. Neal says the Ways and Means Committee has full authority to investigate tax law.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. White House advisor and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner continues to brush off allegations of illegal activity surrounding the Mueller report, saying the people that investigated the president were biased.
All these people thought Trump was going to lose.
Kushner with the comments at a Time magazine forum, and he said the investigation has had an adverse effect on our democracy. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said to meet with the president next week at the White House to talk about proposals designed to boost infrastructure repairs by at least $1 billion. Former Vice President Joe Biden expected to formally announce his presidential bid Thursday.
The 2020 bid follows a campaign in 1988 cut short by a plagiarism scandal and a campaign in 2008 that ended after the Iowa caucuses.
Fox's Peter Doocy. Biden's come under fire in recent weeks over allegations of impropriety with several women. He has apologized for his actions. On Wall Street, the S&P closed at a record high, surpassing the peak it set last September and recouping all the ground it lost last year. The Nasdaq also closed at a new high, adding 105 points. The Dow gained 145 points. The gains coming as U.S. companies began turning in solid results for the first quarter. This is Fox News.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
A guilty plea for a USC coach in connection with the college admission scandal.
Laura Jackie is the former assistant women's soccer coach at the University of Southern California. She's accused of helping the ringleader of the college admission scam, Rick Singer, by creating these fake athletic profiles to get kids recruited for various sports they never played or weren't very good at, including making it appear that Lori Loughlin's daughters were accomplished rowers when they weren't. They'd never rowed. Rick Singer allegedly paid for Jackie's services by donating money to her soccer club. Jackie will now plead guilty to racketeering and conspiracy, and she will cooperate with prosecutors.
Fox's Trace Gallagher. Loughlin and her husband, designer Massimo Giannulli, want the legal proceedings against them to end until the feds turn over all the evidence. They're facing money laundering and wire fraud charges. The family of a 5-year-old boy thrown off a third-floor balcony at the Mall of America earlier this month say he remains in intensive care, but that prayers from the public are working. The family said in a statement the boy remains under sedation. A 24-year-old man has been charged with attempted murder in the attack. The winner of a $768.4 million Powerball jackpot has come forward. 24-year-old Manuel Franco is from suburban Milwaukee. He talked about what it was like when he checked his ticket.
It was amazing. My heart started racing, blood pumping. My blood felt warm. I screamed for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Franco was the only ticket to have all 6 numbers. He'll be accepting the lump sum payment. Former First Lady Michelle Obama and other celebrities will join thousands of students in Los Angeles to celebrate College Signing Day. Obama, Conan O'Brien, Usher, and others set to gather on campus May 1st to commemorate the day high school students choose to pursue higher education. Other events are planned throughout the U.S. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information. GTA.
Yes, and portions of the Ray Gibson Show, the very interesting parts, brought to you by all kinds of pals in all kinds of places. We'll start with King's, and they've got their crazy 2019 menu back. I said crazy 2019 menu. Thank you. Your favorite breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner items served all day, every day. King's Restaurant, always open, always local. Also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Yes, Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for your specialty care needs. Cars Plus, driven by you. Check out Jen and Joey and Dunge up at the Cars Plus location in Mighty and find your next ride for the rest of 2019. Why don't you? And the guys over at Wendy's, where they have put together all kinds of fantastic meal options. You know, my personal favorite is the salads. I'll go in there and get one of those salads. I think it's the spicy Caesar that I love the most, and I like that because it has the spicy chicken thing that they put on there. And if you ask me, I think nobody does spicy chicken better than Wendy's does. So I want you to give that a shot next time that you're driving around to Wendy's place.
I'm just wondering when they're going to put pickled pig's feet on the menu.
You know, just any minute now. Any minute. I think they're just doing some of the market research to make sure that that's in line with customer expectations.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
On the Hello, and the Hello these days is Facebook Live. You can watch this on YouTube Live virtually anonymously. But if you make comments there, I don't necessarily see them here on the Facebook Live, which is where I look for comments from guys like Richard Leon and Joey St. Nicholas. Pam Duvall saying thanks to Vic Camacho and everybody at Sanctuary. God bless you and all you do for our kids. Dave Evans, because that's the thing is we want to catch these kids while they're in the midst of some hard times so that they don't turn into some of the headlines recidivists that we are talking about just too much these days. Buddy Steve Reuter's there. Xavier Atalik, Xavier. It's nice to see you there. Bobby Zamora and others. Mike Garcia, Sonny Cruz, Andy Hendricks, Rai St. Nicholas. You back yet from the Philippines? Were you there for the earthquake? Karina Rose Farron. I got Renee Lau. Brad Hewitt is online. And Nate Horn. Carl Gutierrez, Jackie Cabrera, Vicky Ganashis Borja, all kinds of folks that have found a way to the Facebook Live, if for no other reason, just to see what the heck is going on. Let me just straighten this out. Can I do that without breaking anything? Okay. 9:08 in the morning. And the telephone number, just FYI, is 888-8255-888-TALK. Richard Leon with the point. Lou Leon Guerrero needs to be psych evaluated. Hey, that was a point that I was making a little bit earlier in the program, right? Is we've got Stephen Ignacio, who they've appointed to be the next chief of the Guam Police Department. And everybody says, well, yeah, okay, it's a nice guy, and he's worked really hard, come up through the ranks, and got the education and work experience that he needs to meet the qualifications for the job. But there might be a blemish on a psych eval that he had with a clinical psychologist here on Guam. And she is in this morning's Guam Daily Post, if you read it, it looks like she says, look, what we did here is I did an evaluation. And it was based on a moment in time. And like illnesses of even the physical kind. You get sick doesn't mean you're going to be sick forever. I got a crick in my back here, and it's making me nuts today. Does that mean that it's going to be with me tomorrow and it's going to make me nuts tomorrow? Is this going to be some kind of chronic thing? Or can I go and get a back rub? Can I take a Tylenol and be done with it? Maybe rub some of that CBD oil on my back. And, yeah, probably. And then I will be fit for work, fit for service, sir. And that's what she's saying. At least that's what she's saying today. She stands by her original evaluation. But as far as today is concerned, well, you know what? Maybe we'll do another evaluation and see. But I was making the point that, the same conversation that we are having here today about psychological evaluations for Stephen Ignacio, I would like to see this Lighthouser lady go through and do an evaluation on all of them. All members of the 35th Guam Legislature. I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there and where you are, and it's comfortable, and you're going, nah, I can do an evaluation, right? I can see the ego trips. I can see the narcissists. I can see the wannabes. I can see the ones with daddy issues. I can see the ones with mommy issues, abandonment issues, right? Need some security in my life, and this is it, man. This is what the job does for me. I can't do anything else. Yeah, we don't need to be clinical psychologists to do anything like that. And what about the governor? Should there be some kind of evaluation? And you might say yes, but the long and short on this is the answer is no. We cannot say that in order to run for public office that you have to fulfill some kind of clinical psychological evaluation. It's not in the Organic Act, so we can't force it on anybody. But like I said, I think there's enough of us that get to see the front of the scenes and the behind the scenes to know that, well, maybe there's a little bit crazy in all of us. Maybe we're all just 80% sane, and at interesting times and for interesting reasons. that's when the other 20% comes out. And we just hope nobody ever gets to see it. We just hope that if they do see it, they're not using a camera on me, that we're not filming it. 12 after 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255, 888-TALK. We'll get around to talking about some of the other issues that have been lagging for the last couple of weeks in just a couple of minutes. I just wanted to see what some of the other commentary was on the Facebook Live. Ken LG replying to Richard saying Lulian Gurr needs some kind of evaluation. Ken LG says, what's the point? As many have pointed out, law doesn't require a person to pass a test. Joe Camacho says, we all need help with our minds sometime. I don't know. You know, Joe, just between us boys here, sometimes, you know, the help that you need with your mind is how to turn it off. The Michael Knight, he's nodding up and down. Do you ever just lay on the couch and TV's not playing, radio's not playing, you just want to find a spot where, wouldn't it be great if there was a little switch that you could press or you know, talk to your phone and say, okay, Siri, turn off my brain for 45 minutes. I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to suspect anything. I don't want to hear the voices rattling around in my head anymore.
Ray Cannabis will flip that switch for you.
Well, can I... you know what it makes me want to do? I'm sure everybody's got a different... Yeah, I know what cannabis makes me want to do. But in my experience, one of the things that I enjoyed in my life is... and I don't know, maybe it's the same with you. I'm blessed with perfect hearing. And I'm also blessed with having access to pretty decent stereo gear, and a lot smaller than you think. And some of the things that I like to do is just, and it doesn't require cannabis, and this is for me one of the ways that I like to shut things down in there, is put together a playlist on Spotify, something like that. You know, my favorite tunes from the 70s, 80s. Sound like one of those slogans on the radio stations. Your favorite music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And just let those play in my ears. But it's not just any songs. It just can't not be any songs. I mean, the ones that I like the most are the ones where, you know, a producer took the time, trouble, and expense necessary to build a soundscape. So you've got audio, you've got different elements and sounds coming in from different speakers at different volumes, at different intensities, and you just try to, in your head, place all of the different instruments, try to identify the different instruments and the voices that move around like ghosts on this sound stage that's in your head. I like doing that, and I can imagine how much fun it would be to do it after... I'm sorry, it wasn't the right noise. I think the noise I was going for is more...
Yeah. That's why listening to Pink Floyd with headphones is great.
Well, my point is just about any headphones is cool as well. Anyway, we digress. There's all kinds of other stuff that we get to talk about today. But yeah, I appreciate that. That's what cannabis is for here. That's what's going to shut things down. And then on the other hand, maybe we should not be looking to shut things down. And maybe that's the problem that people will have with cannabis, the ones that will have a hard time controlling it, same way that they have a hard time controlling alcohol and whatever. They go, well, I just wanted to shut down. And pretty soon you realize it's New Year's Eve 2019, and you've virtually shut yourself down for the entire year. So get in there and live a little. 9:15 in the morning, and there's a program that Jerry Roberts and I were talking about a little bit earlier, the stock market game, where they identify a bunch of kids, give them access to a virtual $100,000 and say, make that big. And my friend Leah Metra's on the line. Good morning, Leah.
Hi, good morning, Ray. How are you?
You know what? I'm groovy. Thanks so much for sending me that presser on the award ceremony that you're going to be having.
Yes, that's happening on Friday. We're recognizing the students that have been learning over the last 8 weeks how to invest their money in the stock market game. And what a great opportunity to play with someone else's money, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So the premise of it, like I said, is these kids will put together some kind of a club, right, in their school?
Correct. Well, basically, when we send out the invitation letters to schools, it's sent to the teachers, and many of them already have been doing this it's been around for a very long time. And so they come up with their student teams, which can be up to 5 students each, and then they can have as many teams as they want from a certain school. For example, the Dea schools up in Anderson, they've got like 20-something teams. So there's a lot of kids participating, but and the cool thing is, of course, it's a competition. So they're very eager to learn how can we make some money, and their teacher advisors are the ones that, kind of show them how to follow the stock market every day, and, make those decisions, which companies to invest in, and so forth and so on. And it's really kind of cool, to see. At the end, like last year, the award ceremony, the top team was actually who was a homeschool kid, and it's funny, he came in first place, and second place was third graders from Upi Elementary School, which was, I'm not kidding, they came in second, and then the third place team was from JFK. Now that was last year. So this year we have a new bunch of winners, and it's just so cool. During the ceremony, they all gave presentations, the ones that were there. So they pretty much explained how they did their strategy, which stocks they invested in, and how they follow the market throughout the game, throughout the session. And I was just fascinated. I mean, these are kids talking about the stock market. How cool is that?
Well, it's very cool, and I gotta say, I mean, it's and I like the concept. There was something that I tried to do a few years ago, and one of them, and it was a virtual thing like that, where I take $100,000, because you can get into programs like this online, and what I did was I was very methodical about which stocks I purchased with that $100,000, and I wanted to say I only wanted to go after businesses that had something to do with Guam, some kind of a branch or something like that. So you get banks. You see if you might be able to make investments in banks, and Home Depot and Pepsi and Coca-Cola, and just to see what if we just favored businesses that we are familiar with here, what would the impact have been? How would what kind of upside would we get?
Exactly, and so I don't know how the teachers did it, how they guided the students, but I'm sure all of those things like that, where do you want to go? Which type of industries would you feel would give you an advantage if you invested in? So, for example, the winner last year, who was the homeschool kid, he was talking about pharmaceutical companies. I'm like, oh my God,
I didn't know what a pharmaceutical company was until I was in my 30s.
So this kid is really smart, right? And then here's the third graders from UPIA, and they're talking about, of course, brands familiar to them: Apple, Starbucks, Amazon, that sort of thing. And so they're talking about that. And I forget what the JFK students who came in were talking about, but they it's just really interesting. It could be exactly just based on familiar brands, or they like coffee or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and so in my own personal life, in my own investing life, there are outfits. I own very few of kind of blue chippy equities out there,
right?
And I keep hoping that I will uncover the next gem, this next kind of Google that's out there, the next little Apple, because there's got to be some kind of company out there. Because if you buy Apple, and you can buy Apple, but it's expensive. Or you can buy a whole bunch of lower price stocks, but you have to play the game a little bit more and prune a little bit more often. And I'm old, so I'm a buy and hold guy.
Yeah, safe stuff, you mean? Sort of.
Yeah, like that. I just whatever. I've still got TiVo, even though I'm beginning to think that there's not much left in the cable industry. So I got to figure out when I'm probably going to unhitch that star and buy more Disney or Apple or something.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think these kids feel like they're adults, right? They wish, of course, it was real money, but it's not. But I think as they go through the process, from the beginning of the game to the end, and they're following they're following the returns, right? Every week or however their teachers are doing it. And it gets exciting, you're like, oh my gosh, we made $10,000.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I mean, that's huge. Or, oh my gosh, we lost 5,000 here, or something like that. So, it's a good learning lesson, so that they're more aware, I think, of really not just learning how to manage money, but planning for the future. I mean, that's really what this is about, because the stock market game is a financial literacy program, right? And we want kids to think about how important it is to not only know how to invest your money, but also how to save it, so that you're ready for retirement. You know, they may not think about that now, but in the long run, they'll be thankful to have these skills, and they'll make wiser choices and wiser decisions with handling money. That's what we hope, right? And so, I mean, what a great program, and I didn't even know about it. I wish I had it when I was growing up. And who knows where I would be today, you know, owning Apple stocks or something.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I wished I'd spent a little bit more time. Well, even for something as simple as, I'm stuck in the car with Dad, and he's listening to the radio, and Ray's going over the stock market reports. Why is it important that there is a Dow Jones Industrial Average? Why is it important? Why is it a big deal that the Nasdaq has gone up or gone down?
Right. What does that mean to me, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now we've got these kids in a little bit better of a hand. Who else was helping? I mean, did you get like Dave Beaver and the guys over at Merrill Lynch to come by and talk to the kids every once in a while?
Well, we work with Asia Pacific Financial Management Group, which is Sandy McKeever company, and they've been hosting it over the years, and also they pretty much take care of the award ceremony, which is what we're doing on Friday for the children that are coming. And so they have one of their financial advisors, as when they're requested, especially if they say it's a new teacher that's never done the game before, they'll request for someone to come over, and we have the financial advisor from Asia Pacific group to go over to the schools. We'll schedule something, and then that advisor will make sure that, depending on the age group, that he does it so that they easily understand what it is, because it can be intimidating, of course.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and then so we also
even if it is a virtual $100,000.
Yeah, exactly. So do you feel like some of the kids? It's funny because I heard that some of the kids were even scared to, like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to take anything out. It's like, no, it's a game. It's not real money. But, just the $100,000 is a lot of money to a little kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I can see, a bunch of these kids getting together in the clubs and the organizations. You can get some people that really, really believe in a stock and really make a point about, we're going to buy some of these shares, we're going to buy a bunch of these shares, or we're going to sell a bunch of those shares and use that money to fund the purchase of these shares. But then what happens if it goes backwards? What happens if what happens when you open up the stock market game tomorrow and all of those shares that you were fighting desperately for are going in reverse, and you've actually lost money?
Yep, and that's the reality, because it is a gamble in a way, and that's why you have to be wise. That's why I think most of the teachers, advisors tell the kids, do your research, follow this, follow that. I mean, it's really about just learning more, and it's interesting because the more they learn about that, who knows, they could be future stockbrokers and then financial advisors.
Sure.
Because they get caught up in something so fascinating that it becomes almost it drives them to maybe get more educated and major in finance or whatever in college. So that's kind of cool, because then it's educational, number one.
No, I'm absolutely wild about this. So the top three teams.
Go.
Yes,
our top three teams. Our first place team is from Ostumbo Middle School. So these are middle school kids, coming in. And then the second place team is from Father Duenas. And then the third place team is from Upi Elementary School. So this is the second year they placed in the top three, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, I think the Father Duenas students aren't going to be able to make our ceremony because they're still on spring break. But I believe the other schools are going to be able to be represented there. And hopefully we get to we want to be able to have them come up, and they did this last year. The winners come up and they talk about what they did, how they played the game, and they explain they've got their PowerPoint presentation, and they're talking about the various companies and industries and things like that. I can't wait to see these elementary school students do that. It's going to be kind of fun to see how much they've learned.
What do they win?
Well, we've got prizes. We solicited prizes from various businesses, all kinds of things, gift certificates, and just all kinds of different little things that we wanted to focus on. What would children, what would they love, right?
Right.
So different businesses have been able to donate. We're actually putting the prizes together today. And so they're going to get some really good stuff and fun stuff. That
like $100,000 in real money?
I wish I could give them money. That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
But, yeah, so we're so excited. We can't wait to see the kids come together. What's really cool is at this award ceremony, this is where all these schools come together. So you know how it is. They're all checking each other out. They're all from other schools. And next thing you know, they become friends. And then you're sitting at their table, and they start talking about the stock market. These little kids.
Yeah. What craziness. Hey, 927, and now normally you and I aren't talking about the stock market games. We're talking about, camps and things like that for kids. We got summer coming up. Are you going to be doing any athletic camps, basketball, football, soccer?
I don't want to spill the beans, but I will tell you if something's coming up. I am working on something. That's all I'm going to tell you, but it's very exciting. And you will be one of the first people to know, I promise.
Well, we always back you up.
Yep. So don't worry. You're going to hear about it very soon.
All right.
So we'll share that. I'll share that with you at another time, and we can talk again.
Looking forward to it. Leah Metra, thanks so much, and congratulations to all the kids playing the stock market game today. And one of these days we'll play it for real. It might be worth it. Might be worth finding the winning team here, and somebody actually giving them $1,000 or $2,000 and saying, okay, here you go. And any money that you make past that $1,000 investment, you can use for whatever you want to, up to and including, I don't know, how about college and the like. Maybe these guys are going to turn into some kind of financial planners out there. 9:28 and change in the morning, and Ray Gibson Show on what day is it? It's Wednesday, isn't it? We made it to Wednesday. It's the unfit for duty speed hump day. Mentally unfit for speed hump day. That's the name of the program today. And
what are you trying to say, Ray?
Well, you're looking at me. It was just in my head. It was just I was figuring out what is it? How am I going to title today's program? And it just the language that was used in that report. Mentally unfit. Wow. And aren't there days in your life where you go, I'm not feeling 100% on the intelligence today. Maybe it'd be best if I just kind of stayed in one place and didn't get around anything sharp, right? maybe today is that day. So I don't know. Making our way through Wednesday, and that's the good news, because that means that we've only got 2 more before it gets to be the weekend, Thursday and Friday. Programming note. I got a couple of interesting guests that are going to be coming in. At some point, we're going to be talking about with the judiciary of Guam and talking about the law weekday month celebrations that are going to be starting as it gets closer and closer to May. And oh my God, it's getting closer and closer to May. And then tomorrow, if everything works right and I've stroked the right folks at the advertising agencies, a guy named Rob McCollum is going to be in the studio, and he's going to be talking about, because every once in a while we have to break away from the nonsense that is the entertainment branch of our lives. That is the government of Guam. Every once in a while, we got to break away from the political gossip and talk about things that, you know what, there's a higher and greater calling for some people. What do you want to do? I want to go to the top of the highest peak on the planet. And then when I'm done with that, I want to go to its lowest point. And I think that's among some of the challenges that the people that are involved in this now Challenger Deep expedition have been through. Highest highs and the lowest of the lows. Outer space, almost outer space, to deepest inner space. And so they're going to be coming in tomorrow. We'll be talking about that. And that goes in with the same line of thinking that brings, I don't know, the paradigm-shifting idea that we don't need a rocket ship that takes off from Cape Canaveral or any other number of islands that dot the Pacific and send up an actual rocket into space to launch a satellite. There ought to be an easier way, like, I don't know, carrying it in the belly of near the belly of a 747 and shooting it off vertically to where it needs to go. Sorry, horizontally to where it needs to go.
By the way, the difference from the top of Mount Everest to the bottom of Challenger Deep is 12.3 miles.
12.3 miles.
Yeah.
And the majority of that underwater.
Yeah.
When you think about it, 7-something miles underwater. Not too many people have gone down to that briny depth and came back alive. And yeah, it is the equivalent of going to another planet when you think about it. Just the pressure of the water and the diving gear that you need to be in to take you all the way down. I think that's kind of interesting stuff. But it reminds me, do you remember when they had that oil spill deep in the Gulf of Mexico? just off
BP
losing
did that.
Yeah, the BP spill, and being able to get to that wellhead. Where it was at the depth that it was, to be able to figure out how to close it off at the time, and I was trying to equate the conversation with somebody, and it was another PE that backed me up on this. I said, you don't understand what's at stake, what is going on here, because it's not visible, it's not accessible by human hands. It would be just like capping an oil spill on the moon.
Pretty much.
And in all practical terms, that's what we were dealing with, kind of remote control versions of being able to do this, feeling our way around in the darkness. It is something else. And anyway, like I said, the guy's going to be in the studio tomorrow, so I think that's going to be one of those fun Ray Gibson conversations, and I hope it's one of those where, I'm annoyed that the clock is going to be running. Hey, the clock is running, and it gives me an opportunity to remind you that right now is iConnect time. iConnect is all over the place in Guam. Got towers all over the place, and we got locations where you can go in and talk to them about business plans, like push to talk, or even just lower priced mobile and internet plans. Their number is 888-8888.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan, protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
The University of Guam presents Tritons Out Loud. Celebrate a day of diversity on Friday, April 26th at the University of Guam Calvo Fieldhouse from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Come out and experience the opening parade, food trucks, fashion and entertainment, and more.
Let's have some fun.
This event is open and free to the public. Join the first ever Diversity Day, where we celebrate unity, pride, sexuality, individuality, and diversity of the Triton and Island community. Tritons Out Loud.
Oh, there's this. It's funny. I just clicked into a page that on my browser that I looked at it earlier in the day, and I thought maybe I'd riff about it when it got to be time to do Jerry Roberts and the extra point. Then we ended up riffing on all kinds of other stuff. The story out of KUSI, a San Diego's more local news station, and they're following around what I thought was a pretty interesting story about the salary needed to buy a house in some of the largest United States cities. If you were living in San Jose, which is in California, $254,000, almost $255,000 a year is what would be required to buy yourself a house. Now, I don't know what kind of house they're talking about here. I presume it would be a single-family dwelling, a two-car garage, maybe a picket fence for your 2.5 kids and dog, attic, and maybe a little bit of basement space. $254,000 in San Jose is the salary required to buy a house there. San Diego, California, $131,000. Actually, that doesn't sound bad. That actually doesn't sound like a terrible high amount of money of your combined household income. Los Angeles, $123,000. Pittsburgh, this is weird. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, $37,659.
Yeah, it's actually a buyer's market there. You've had so many people moving out of the Northeast and down to the Rust Belt, and out of the Rust Belt and Iron Belt down to the other areas of Texas. North Dakota, North Dakota's been picking up a whole lot of people out of that area because the oil business is booming.
Yeah. So looking at some of the other places here, we got San Francisco at $199,000. So a San Jose home, the San Jose salary of $254,000 to buy a house there, only $199,000. I say only $199,000 in San Francisco. You'd think it would be a little bit higher than that. Seattle, Washington, where so many kids from Guam seem to be finding themselves. If you've got a combined household income of about $105,000, you ought to be able to get yourself into some kind of decent housing out there.
I'm guessing Houston is on that list, and I want to say it's probably about 80,000.
That number is too high.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to buy a house.
Yeah, Houston, Texas, $62,000 a year. San Antonio, Texas, even lower, $59,000. But you got to live in San Antonio. You want to live upstate? Check out Dallas at $65,000. And there's a whole list that you can get to. Just look it up. The salary needed to buy a house in the largest U.S. metros, and I think it would surprise you at how I'm looking at this thing here, going, wow. You publicize these numbers too much. There might be people listening going, whoa, wait a second. I'd kind of like to live in Orlando, Florida, where the Mickey Mouse, $61,000 a year is the minimum income required to buy a nice house in Orlando. Jacksonville, Florida, $57,000. Charlotte, North Carolina. One of the prettiest places I've ever been to on the East Coast of the United States, $52,000. And they say that, and the people that say that Charlotte's kind of expensive and growing, but if that's all it takes to grab yourself a house there, golly, place it next to my dad's house was, I don't know, I think it was moving for something like 145, and it was sitting on an acre of land practically.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, acre of land, multiple stories in the house. We got a basement, we got an attic on the thing. It was real nice, and not too far away from everything, as the crow flies between Matthews and Charlotte. Yeah, maybe I should stop talking about this. Otherwise, there's going to be a mass exodus out of Guam going, I want to live there.
Yeah, that same house would probably go for about $500,000 here on Guam.
Well, there's that. That's the thing is what is the minimum salary required now to buy a house on Guam? And I don't know what all of the factors would be that go into something like that. But we hear stories all the time. The housing on Guam is very expensive. Obviously, you want to live in someplace nice without neighbors like right next to you, just atoms away from where your house is. You're generally hard to find some of those places for less than about between $275,000, $325,000 in decent neighborhoods. So what's the rate here that the bank is going to be looking at between you and the missus, or you and the mister, to be able to afford to buy all of that? What is the salary required to buy a house in Guam, in some of the more Tony neighborhoods on Guam? Excess of $100,000? You want to guess on that? I don't know. I'll see if I can find an economist buddy of mine and see what those numbers turn out to be. If you've got an idea, send me up something on the Facebook Live here to see what your thoughts are. Charlene Marchessault still there. Tom Tahazi, Kate Garcia Baltazar, Kat Uggan, Richard Yu. I see Andy Hendricks still around. Joe Rosario and Nick Perlowski. Rudy Magallanes, who says, I guess in crypto you are called a hodler. Holding crypto. I have no idea what that means. Carl T.C. Gutierrez, Nate Horn, Kaz Endo, a bunch of other people that are online this morning as we make our way through what is going to be the Wednesday. There was another thing that I was looking at that I wanted to share with you a little bit earlier. If you're watching on Facebook Live, great, then you can see it. If you're not, I'll read it. Later on today, there is going to be what's being referred to as a walk out. And it sounds like, it sort of has that feel like you're supposed to walk out in a huff, but we don't actually want anybody walking out in a huff as much as we'd like you to go out there and send a clear message to our representatives in all three branches of government, legislative and administrative, and the judiciary. That we as a community around here have pretty much had it with what it feels like the thugs running the place. They get in trouble, they get arrested, they go to court, they're back on the streets. Where they're busted again, get led in cuffs to the court and tear, oh, woe is me, I'm a victim of society, and then they're out again. At any rate, so there are going to be a number of locations where people who have had it with that kind of coddling of the thugs will walk out, raise their hands at 5 after 5, and on their hand written the word enough. Chief Kipua intersection, UOG, ITC, Airport Road, Padre Palomo Park, right there in front of Moses, Cars Plus and Mighty Price Elementary School, Adeloop intersection. You'll be able to find folks hanging out over at, where's that now? I got to scooch down a little bit more on this list. Matalik, Fish Mart, and Agate, KUAM Studios, Girl Power at Iseng Road up in Dededo and the Mobile intersection. In front of Kadu in Mangilao, the legislature, bunch of mayor's offices, Guam National Guard Readiness Center, Nissan in Upper Tumon, GTA in Upper Tumon, Barragata intersection by 76 and Circle K. Security title are going to be having everybody run outside and write the words enough on their hands. I got a feeling that tonight, when you're going around tonight, take a look at people's hands. You know, maybe it'll be like Ash Wednesday, where everybody's walking around with the ash on their forehead. Maybe today will be something like that, where everywhere you go, you take a look at somebody's hand, and maybe the word enough will still be written on their hand today, and maybe a little bit tomorrow. I got that feeling. But still, in all, that's what's going to be happening. You know, and I hope, as I was reading the names of all of these places going down there, that you weren't getting a sense of, like, sponsor mentions. This is not sponsor mention time. This is not photo op time. This is not, what is it Klitsky likes to call it, virtue signaling time. This is a great opportunity to get a message across, like I said, to our elected representatives, that more needs to be done to protect the community. From some of the thugs and the gangsters that are out there that seem to have their own way.
What bothers me is the level of the task. We have to build a new prison. I would suggest to completely overhaul the penal code here on this island. This patchwork piecemeal crap is just not getting it done. And people here are going to have to start forgetting that they know everybody here. When somebody breaks the law, you've just got to hit them with the hammer and be done with it. And you've got to put the laws in place. Yeah.
Especially if you know some of the people that we're talking about that we've got. So I just don't know. I don't see anybody in our legislature or governor's office that's up to the task. Well, it needs to be kind of a unified thing, and maybe it's something that maybe we don't actually want the government to do. But I mean, they've got to, if for no other reason, just enforce the existing laws. Just usually that's 90% of it. We've got some decent laws on the books there. Figure out what the loopholes are, and get rid of them. And some people would say, well, you're taking away the discretion of the judges. You're taking away the discretion of the prosecutors. And at this point, got to say, so and. What we haven't been getting the results that we want out of these systems. We've been talking about a system of corrections for years. That's why it's called the Department of Corrections. And I'm of the opinion that it should not be called the Department of Corrections. This is the Department of you screwed up and you're going to get punished. And this ain't the Hilton, guys. This is not Dusitani. This is a really, really bad place. And we want you to sit there and be reflective of what it is that you did wrong, and what it is that you've got, what it is that you owe the community, and maybe the way it's always been done, you owe the community years of your life and years of your freedom.
Yeah, going back to Shakespeare, a rose by any other name, I don't think the name of the facility is as important as it is to build a new, larger facility. If the judges have more room to put these criminals in there for longer times, then maybe we'll start seeing longer sentences soon.
No photo ops. Posers won't show. Yeah, that's that ought to be one of the standards by which we judge. You get some of these these elected representatives. Notice I'm very careful not to say leaders. Our elected representatives that are out there, and I tell you what, the first one that posts something up with them and their office staff holding up their hand at 5 minutes after 5, you're going off my list of people to vote for. This is not what that's about, guys. This is not photo op time. This is not selfie time. This is the opportunity. And as Bob Klitsky said, if you are Politico in this town, you're not transmitting the message. We don't want you to transmit the message. We want you to receive the message from us. So you need to be, instead of standing on the side of the road with with your nose pickers and poll clickers taking selfies of you. We don't want you to do that. In fact, you ought to be driving up and down the road looking at all of the people that are holding up their hands. You need to be in observation mode. All of the people that are holding up their hands, and they're going to be women that you know, and they're going to be little kids that you know that are going to be out there that are looking to you to stand up for justice.
Walk up and down those sidewalks and talk to the people and find out what they'd like you to do about it.
I'll be at Mosa. That's where my place is going to be. 9:46 in the morning. So enough of that rant. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how it plays out. But like I said, if you are encouraging revolution, those of you of political stripe, if you are out there and we see selfies of you with holding up your hands, you are not the transmitters. You are the receivers around here. And why is this all happening? Well, because the parole board screwed up and they let somebody out who told them a pretty good story, left out the part where he was apparently addicted to messing with little girls. And I recall hearing that there were other victims that were at the hearings that said, no. He needs to stay in. He needs to finish things up. But I said, no. We know better. And he's out and was apparently, doing okay for a little bit. And then, bang, here it comes. The addiction starts. He's fiending again. Couldn't control himself, couldn't resist the urges. And that brings us to where we are here today in this conversation. And you would, unfortunately, you'd think that there would be a whole lot of just kind of everybody hold off here. Parole board, freeze murderer. Well, that's the kind of headline that you want to see, especially in this day and time where we're talking about what we're talking about. Oh, this is great. And I'll tell you what, it might be a good time to start taking a look over the last, 8 years of the Calvo administration. And because they like to do that, towards the end of a term, they like to take a look at some of the names at the big house over at DOC and say, oh, maybe we'll commute a sentence here or there. Now, you don't always get to find out who they are. If you're a newsie in this town, because you know how I am, I'll just talk about it, bring up the ideas. I'll need somebody else to go find it out for me and put it in headline form in the Daily Post. But it might be interesting to see some of the people that have been had pardons granted by the governors recently. I know that there's going to be a bunch of them that he commuted sentences for the purposes of deporting them. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
But what about some of the ones where he pardoned a couple of folks over at the Department of Corrections and they're back living amongst us?
Or maybe back in DOC.
Yeah, right. Probably went around in that direction. Anyway, so ponder those thoughts and others this morning as we kind of figure out how to get from where we are today, this life, to the one where you feel a lot safer in your backgrounds. You're feeling safer over at the beaches. A friend of mine was out doing some swimming and she put this on Facebook. I saw that, and she's talking about doing some swimming in Epal Beach because it's a beach and you can swim there. And so she's swimming in this area, and there's a fisherman on the beach. And the guy's going, hollering out at her on the ocean and going, "I'm waiting." There's a potential for tension there, isn't it? We got to share the resource here. Now, back in the old days, the guy would not have done something like that because there was a girl in the water. And I don't know any red-blooded guy I know would go, "There's a girl in a swimsuit in the water. I can fish for the rest of the day. I can just sit here and watch her swim. That looks like fun." But the guy was, "I'm waiting. You got to move on now so I can do my fishing." I don't know. Normally, the town I grew up with, guys had a lot more respect for women than that. And I don't know when that's changed. We got to figure out how we can change things back. Thank you for saying that. I am too not voting for elected reps who show up. Yeah, there you go. Lorraine Dew listening to the program this morning. Thanks for saying that. I don't know. Don't you get sick of? I mean, it's one thing, I suppose, for me to virtue signal because I don't know that I have that in me. So if I'm doing it, it must really be something that I'm supportive and I'm behind. But just to get out there and, hey, look at me, I'm Senator so so-and-so. I raise my hand. I rise in support of justice. No. We don't need any pictures of that. So go ahead and take a picture if you want to for your family or a journal or something. But we don't need to see any of that crap on Facebook. We need to see you looking at people and then getting responsive.
If a senator wants to take a selfie of them with that, then put it on your forehead, not on your hand. Make it really mean stand out.
Let me see. There are a couple of other items in the table of contents I haven't really gotten a chance to get around to and riff. Is it me or did the USCIS just become party poopers number 3?
I'm angry with them.
Right? It's like the Daily Post editorial board. You remember when they were going after all the conversation about cannabis? And Sedfrey Linsong, and he wants to go after everybody that signed off on the cannabis deal. Mm-hmm. And now we got the USCIS that says, oh, you want to be a citizen? Well, if you've smoked or distributed or received marijuana as part of your working life here, that may prevent you on moral grounds. This is the federal government of the United States of America telling us what is morally right and wrong. It is to laugh, as we used to say. It is to laugh. I don't know. I mean, marijuana, crystal methamphetamine. Marijuana, what was that thing you were talking about? Flocka.
Yeah, Flocka.
Yeah, that's going to be the new scourge. The idiot kids are going to try that and ruin their lives with that now.
Have you seen those videos?
I think we've seen one on Guam.
That stuff is crazy.
I think we've seen one on Guam. What does it do to your mind and your nervous system? Because some of the Flocka videos that I've seen are guys that are incapable of standing up or even keeping still. They just kind of roll around on the sidewalk, and somebody comes around every once in a while and moves them up to the top of the sidewalk so they don't roll into traffic.
Yeah, just gyrations everywhere. Can't speak. Can't do anything. Just crazy.
Kind of stupid high is that? Why would you want to? One of the things I've never really understood about that kind of business. Anyway, 950. So there's that story there, and then there's another one. You know, I always talk about Mary Torres in almost hushed and revered tones because she is the Princess Leia of the Republican Party, born from Carlos Camacho I. There ought to be music behind this. Born something. Do we have anything soaring? Do we have any kind of soaring kind of? Anyways, born from Carlos Camacho I, elected Republican governor of Guam, sister to Felix Camacho, twice elected governor of Guam. So normally I talk about her in revered tones, but I don't know. She's got this bill on revenge porn. And it would allow victims of revenge porn to be able to sue anonymously. So if we were in the middle of something and you were taking pictures of me, and all of a sudden that starts showing up in everybody's WhatsApps and on Facebook, and it's pictures of me and my nipples that I did not put up there. I ought to be able to find out who it was and sue them anonymously in order to recover some kind of damages.
How can you sue someone anonymously when you're in the picture?
Well, it's me being able to. What it basically means is I wouldn't have to go to court. I wouldn't have to be there. I could be behind a bamboo curtain and let the situation take hold. It wouldn't necessarily have to be brought into any kind of testimony. I'm just going to say these are the two of us. This is what we were doing. What should have been a private act turned into a public moment for everybody. And I'm humiliated. I'm mortified, and I've been damaged. And I'd like to get receive some kind of something for my damages. Right. Anyway, so that's in my mind. That's the gist of it. But I can't help but wonder: is that a solution out looking for a problem? Pardon my ignorance, but is that a big deal here on Guam? A guy gets ticked off, because the girlfriend broke up with him, and he says, "Yeah, but dude, I got that video, and I'm going to take that video, I'm going to stick it up on WhatsApp, and then everybody's going to see it." How often does something like that happen on Guam? And is there a requirement, for this measure to go through? And I'll put it in. I'll try to be Kenley and Guerrero when I say this. Have we solved all the other problems? Is this one of those things that can wait until after we solve some of the other problems, Jim H., after we take care of some of the other pending issues, Simon Sanchez, that are floating in front of the community? Or is this something that we're just drop everything and worry about revenge porn? Like I said, if it's happening, I'm not seeing it. 988-5874, that's my WhatsApp. Stop laughing. That wasn't supposed to be funny. It's 9:56.
Get a free Polar Pop any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a free coffee any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get $5 off any Circle K car wash package when you purchase $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
The GCC Votech Class of 79 is back. Join them on April 27th at the Onward Beach Hotel for a night of dinner, dancing, skits, and reminiscing. It's been 40 years since graduation, so take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime chance to relive the memories. There's also a memorial mass on Friday, the 26th, at the Santa Teresita Church. Be there at 5:30 for candle placement in honor of classmates who've gone before. Tickets for the reunion on the 27th are on sale for $40 a person. For details, find Connie Keatigwa St. Nicholas at 488-6108 or Kathy Diaz, 777-3243. Viva 79ers! Oh, Facebook absolutely rich today. A couple of interesting Facebook quotes. Smart girl politics. Missed it by that much. Hillary Clinton almost wins Wheel of Fortune, but then shouts out Easter worshiper instead of Christians. And there's a picture of a Wheel of Fortune thing, and CHRISTIA blank N. And it would have been fall down easy to just say Christians. But, of course, Libby's don't say Christians because they don't want to offend the people that were actually bombing the Christians. Amazing. And a story out of Summit News, vegan feminist cafe that imposed an 18% gender surcharge on men has closed down. Can you imagine? Yes, there's just some strange kind of cults that are out there of white, straight men haters, and they decided that was what they were going to do. The Handsome Her Cafe, which only opened a few years ago and was located in inner-city Melbourne, describes itself by women, for women. The venue attracted headlines in 2017 for challenging the gender pay gap by charging men extra. At the time, the cafe's management claimed the attention left them jam-packed with customers showing their support. Not anymore. Notice on the cafe's website says it's closing for good day after tomorrow.
Probably because they had crappy stuff.
And there's probably that. The cafe attracted numerous negative reviews on TripAdvisor, with one man saying he had to deal with aggressive and irate women who called him a vile beast because he was dissatisfied with his meal. Well. The future is Famalan, right? Just saying. 9:59, and that's it for the Ray Gibson Show for today. At least I think it is. What else do I got? I got a little bit of work in front of me today, and then I'm going to go home and aspirin the back or CBD the back. I could do some of that before the day is all over. You might. I was going to say you might see me in church. Massive intention for my mother up at the Friary today, and happy birthday in heaven, Mom. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG. I got you. My name is Ray Gibson. For Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson, I want to say thanks very much for listening to the program. You know where I'm going to be at 5 o'clock, and I hope that when we see each other later in the evening and all day tomorrow, I'll take a look at your hand and see what's written on it to find out whether you have had enough as well. Had enough of this show. I gotta go. Stand by. Fox News Live is next.
Gathering information. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The counter-terror team of London's police asking for any pictures or video from Sunday's terror attacks in Sri Lanka as they assist authorities in that country as a high-profile terror group claims responsibility.